Good evening. It is 7 p.m. This is the Londonderry Town Council meeting. It is Monday, August 18, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to start off tonight's meeting. Dan has a presentation.
Yes, I'd like to make a presentation. I usually don't like to do this stuff in public. I'm more of a behind-the-scene types of person, but this is for a very special person that served our love and loved our community so much. When I decided to run for town council, I talked to my wife about some of the great people that served our community. Ron Campo was one of those individuals. I said to her that should I win, whatever compensation a person receives as counselor, we would not take that money, but instead have it go to a good cause within our community. On March 3rd, 2025, Londonderry lost a very special individual, Ron Campo. Ron Campo loved Londonderry. Sorry, I'm having a hard time with this. And he spent over 20 years on the school board. Not only was he active on the school board, but he also was very active with LAFA in town. He served on town's recreation commission for many years as well. Today, his son Michael sits on the recreation commission, serving the town of Londonderry like his dad. Ron did this while raising his sons Michael, Ron, Steve, and Justin, with his loving, supportive anchor, Joan, by his side. She was always there for him. Whether it was for the schools, the town, sports, any recreation, Ron always did what he thought was best for Londonderry. It was never about himself or personal agenda with Ron. It was about the community he loved. When he passed, his loving family requested that contributions be made to LAFA, allowing him to make one final contribution to the organization he loved so dearly in the form of a scholarship. I want to present this check to Ron's family in memory of Ron Campo to go to LAFA for their scholarship in memory of him. I also want to thank you, Joan, for sharing your amazing husband with this community. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Michael, Steve, Justin, for sharing your dad with this community. He left a lasting legacy in this community that he loved so much. Joan, kids, come on up. This check is for $2,153 to go in memory of your loving husband. You're welcome. You're welcome. He was awesome.
Okay.
I know it's hard sometimes when you're up here, guys, ladies, doing this job, but it's also good to have that spouse supporting you. My loving wife's out here supporting me tonight for this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Now we have a presentation from Larry Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Larry Casey, 35 Forest Street. I'm here representing the Arts Council as the chairman. And before I start, I want to hand out or present to the councilors our latest endeavor, a literary and art journal that we launched this year called Wild Apples, and I wanted each of you to have a copy. And there will be a quiz afterwards. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
So about a year and a half ago, one of our members who's here in the room, Dasha Bulatova. Dasha, if you can raise your hand, let everybody know where you are. We also have our vice chairman, Steph Millville, here as well. Anyway, about a year and a half ago, Dasha approached the Arts Council with the idea of putting together a literary and art journal. We thought it was going to be the first one for Londonderry, but Bob Napolitano presented us with a copy of a literary journal that was done back in the 80s, and we appreciated him bringing that to our attention. But we began the process, and it's been a labor of love for Dasha. It's basically her vision, and those of us on the Arts Council circled the wagons around her and tried to help her get this launch. And we were very pleased to have our inaugural edition ready for a launch party in the Parmenter Barn in May. And we had over 60 people attending that. It was pretty much standing room only. But this is our first of many journals, we hope. We've opened up submissions for the next edition. But I also wanted to mention that one of the things that we wanted to do was dedicate this to the memory of Andy Mack. So if you look at page 27, there's a dedication to Andy, and in subsequent pages, there's some more material that is relevant to him. So what we're hoping for with this journal is to create an opportunity to bring creative people in Londonderry and surrounding communities together to share their work, a love of the arts, and to basically create a forum and opportunity for them to show off their talent, but also to create a legacy for the town in terms of the talented people that contribute to everything we're doing here. So we're excited about it. There's an online version of this. If you go to londonderryartscouncil.org and go to the Wild Apples page, you'll see an opportunity to submit work, but also this current copy is readable or downloadable in a PDF document, so the public can access it that way. We're very, very proud of this. We're looking forward to the next edition, and we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to share in that pride with us. So happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions?
I was at your debut event back in May.
Yeah.
That was quite an event, quite a packed house at the Morrison Meeting House.
Yeah, we were.
That was incredible.
Ted, thank you so much for coming out for that. We were overwhelmed by the turnout and the enthusiasm of the people in the room. Very, very happy with that. We had, when we opened up enrollment, we didn't know what to expect, but we have nearly 50 talented people represented in this volume, and most of them showed up for that event, brought their loved ones, and it was a very special afternoon, and I really appreciate you.
And I believe you guys
had
had sold out that day too, correct?
Pardon me?
You guys had sold out of books that day?
Yeah, we had to put another order in fairly quickly. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we did sell some of these at Old Home Day. You can purchase these through our website as well, and we're looking forward to. We're not only trying to recover our costs, but get some seed money going to fund the next round of this. But we way underestimated how many copies of this edition we were going to need back in May, and we still have quite a few left that we can share. In fact, I'd love to see these for sale in the town hall somewhere if we can get them on display and handle some transactions in the building, because we're not in it for profit. We're in it to share the talent and make sure that we can fund the program in a positive way moving forward. So, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Appreciate it. I will open the floor for public comment. No one? Okay. All right. I will close public comment. We don't have any board appointments or reappointments tonight. So, public hearing.
What?
What?
She missed public comment is what she's saying. Ron.
I thought that was just
closed it.
presentations. I didn't hear you open public comment.
Okay, so could we do it at the end, Christine?
Huh?
I closed public comment already.
When did you open it?
I opened it and then no one came up, but I said, do we have anybody comment? And then I closed it.
You did.
You did.
All right, I mean,
I thought you said there were presentations. We have two presentations, one that you did and another one. Those were presentations. So you're not allowing public comment?
I opened public comment and no one came up. And I said, is anyone there for public comment? And no one came up and I closed
I
it.
didn't hear you. Sitting in the back, I
What
didn't
is-
hear you. I request that you reopen public
Yeah,
comment.
well, I mean,
What do you want to do there?
It's up to you guys.
I mean,
You did give a significant amount of time.
I mean, what do you guys think is a,
I mean, he did call for public comment. There were multiple
Didn't hear it in
calls.
the back. Didn't hear it in the back.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
all right, Christine, I mean, what do you want to do? I did open and close it. I asked if there was anybody.
it's your call.
And if we do that, then we're going to get somebody
All right.
complaining the other way.
All right, so we're gonna wait till the end, Christine.
Okay.
I did open and close it. Next up is a public hearing. Receive public input to discuss and act upon the resolution of approving a fee schedule for records and requests.
Motion to
First, I'll make a
approve, motion to open the public hearing?
We gotta get a presentation first.
Right. Kirsten will make the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. So, as I mentioned at the first presentation of this last week, when the council originally approved this records request fee schedule last year, it was with the understanding that, like any fees, it would need to be approved on a year-to-year basis after that. So I'm simply bringing it before you again this year. There have been no substantive changes. There's been no increase to costs there. The one significant change you'll see on the document is that we made it very, very clear when the dividing line for when we would provide documents via email versus on a flash drive. And as always, people are welcome to view any physical or electronic records absolutely free of charge and photograph them themselves at Town Hall at any given time. We have a kiosk computer a laptop that we have designated for the purpose. So if cost is an issue, we can certainly help people out that way. So that's my presentation.
Excellent. Any questions from the council?
Nope.
I will accept the motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Motion from Ted,
Second?
second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Any from the public wish to comment on the fee schedule? Seeing none, I will accept the motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion from Ted,
Second.
second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. What do we want to do?
I'll make a motion that I'll move that the Londonderry Town Council adopt the records request fee schedule for fiscal year 2026 as presented in the agenda packet.
I have a motion from Dan,
Second.
second from Deb. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Next up is a public hearing to receive input, discuss, and act upon zoning ordinances. There's a presentation. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kristen Farr. I am the town planner. And
Just move that
Speak into the mic.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I talk a little softly. So this application before you has been submitted by the City of Manchester, and it requests the rezoning of one parcel at 3385 Brown Ave from agricultural residential to commercial 2. The proposed change is intended to ensure consistency with the surrounding airport-related zoning districts and land uses. The parcel is approximately 3.3 acres, presently undeveloped, and directly abuts the airport. At the Planning Board's July 9th meeting, they voted to recommend the approval of this to the Town Council, and this is the second of the 2 required readings. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the council?
Just for clarification, I don't believe I was at the last meeting that this was spoken at. Was the zoning changing to? Just reading
From
quickly.
agricultural residential to commercial too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It'll be the matching zoning.
Correct.
That's next door?
The surrounding zoning is all commercial too.
Wonderful.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I will accept a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Dan,
Second.
second by Sean. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Anyone from the public wish to comment on the zoning? Seeing none, I will accept the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sean, second by Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
All right, what do we want to do?
So I move that the Londonderry Town Council adopt ordinance 2025-08 as an amendment to the zoning ordinance relative to zoning of 3385 Brown Avenue, map 28, lot 009, from AR1 to C2.
Motion from Sean,
Second.
second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. All right. New business. Discuss and authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute an easement agreement for the proposed Old Dairy Road booster station.
So I'll ask representatives from the town of Derry to come up front with their engineers, and as well as John Trottier as well. John, if you just want to sit over by Kirsten.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, councilors. Town Manager Mulholland. My name is Tom Carrier. I'm the Director of Public Works for the town of Derry, New Hampshire. With me is Mike Unger. Mike Unger is an engineer with the Drinking Water and Groundwater Bureau with the state of New Hampshire. We're here this evening to request the council to grant to the town of Derry an easement upon the property known as the Auburn landfill site for the purpose of constructing, operating, and maintaining a new water booster pumping station. So with the council's indulgence, I'd like to just really quick go over the history of this project and let Mike talk a little bit more about it from the state's perspective. So this project is really the second phase of a Southern New Hampshire regional water project. That project, the phase one of which was completed back in 2020, was designed to bring a little over 3 million gallons of water per day from the Manchester Waterworks treatment plant to Southern New Hampshire communities south of Derry, including Wyndham, Salem, Hampstead Area Water Company, which services the towns of Atkinson and Plastow. Atkinson and Hampstead, as well as the town of Plastow. The intent of bringing that water supply to that area was to address some known contamination, source contamination issues, and some supply deficiencies. So Town of Derry partnered through a system interconnection agreement with those communities, as well as Manchester Waterworks, the state of New Hampshire, and Pennachuck Waterworks to begin the project. So as I said, phase one has been completed through a combination of state funds and municipal funding. Phase two, the state approached the town of Derry last year. There was some available funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, known as ARPA, as well as from the Emerging Contaminant Mitigation Fund, and asked Derry to begin the process of the phase two improvements. So the phase two, we broke it up into two pieces. The phase 2A, which really gets the water from Manchester into Derry, and then phase 2B will actually get the water through the Derry water system. So the Derry water system has an existing infrastructure, but it wasn't sized for the second phase, which is an additional 2 million gallons a day. So what was necessitated here is to construct a second pipeline to come into Derry. That pipeline would go from the intersection of Auburn Road and Old Derry Road, that's Manchester Waterworks system, and it would continue along Old Derry Road in Londonderry and connect to where Derry's water system currently exists, which is at Clover Lane on Old Derry Road. Around the same time frame as the phase one improvements, the developer of Lord and Commons came to the town of Derry. They had been experiencing some supply deficiencies in the area of their phase one, and asked if the town of Derry would be willing to extend its water system to supply water to phase two. Derry agreed to do so. It was consistent with our master plan and Manchester Waterworks master plan, which was to bring a second supply connection from Manchester through Londonderry into Derry. The project, we feel, has a mutual benefit. It brings water pressure increases to the area, fire flow capacity in this area of Londonderry, as well as providing a safe drinking water source to the residents in the area should any contamination issues arise. With me this evening, as I said, is Mike Unger. I'll let Mike just say a few words, if you like, with regard to the state's role in the project.
Oh, thank you. Yes, as Tom said, my name's Mike Unger with New Hampshire DES, Department of Environmental Services, in the Drinking Water Program. And as Tom said, this is the second phase of the Southern New Hampshire project, which is bringing water to communities in Southern New Hampshire, primarily to address contamination originally from MTBE and now the PFAS, PFOA, PFOS, as well as economic development. And this is an important first step of phase 2 to make this second connection, as Tom said, and really a priority for the state with the funding that's being invested in this project and already was in phase 1. And we recognize, that it's important to continue to have a good relationship with the town, as we feel we have all along, even though you don't have your own water system, obviously, as a partner in this. And we've been working with Manchester Waterworks as well as the town of Derry to make sure that there aren't any negative impacts to water pressure or quality. And with John Trottier, town engineer, on the roadway and any other concerns that might be brought up in town. The engineers, I think, can speak to some more of the technical details, but there were several sites that were looked at, and we did meet on site at one of them and received feedback from the community, and obviously the team took that into account, and the state's willing to pay the additional cost to site this pump station at the proposed location. So we're asking for the town's support of this easement.
With that, I'd like to, with the council's permission, to turn it over to our project engineers, Underwood Engineers. David Cedar will talk about the site specifics and the project timelines. The project manager is Devin Smith, and right here somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry. And Devin's a project manager, and he's been with us throughout phase 1 and phase 2 improvements, and did the design engineering on the project.
Yeah.
So.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Appreciate your time today. My name is David Cederholm, and this is Devin Smith.
Yep. Thank you, Council.
So we're just going to fill you in quickly on the kind of basic details of the pump station. As my colleague from Derry just mentioned, this is the site of the former Auburn landfill, and the landfill itself has some use restrictions that actually make it quite possible for something like a pump station. We looked at a number of other sites and eventually settled on this one, possibly or primarily because of the minimal impacts this site has on other residents. The pump station is being designed to pump 2.3 million gallons a day, which is about 2,200 gallons per minute. We are interested in a 1.5 acre easement in behind the two properties on either side, 56 Old Derry Road and 60 Old Derry Road. This actually has the address of 58 Old Derry Road. We've communicated with both of those abutters. They're both aware of the meeting tonight and also our plans to meet with the planning board on September 10th. The pump station will receive water down a 16-inch water main and then pump water towards Derry and into another 16-inch ductile iron water main. There are multiple right-of-ways actually into the former landfill site, and this one lends itself quite well for an access road to the pump station. It was at one point an access into the landfill property, and it's currently being used by the residents on either side. So we'll actually end up improving access for those folks as well into their property. There will be a security fence around the building with gates right there as you kind of towards the back of the properties. We're also proposing a gate, so if the town needs to still access the old Auburn landfill, they'll be able to do that through our site. Geez, that's really about it. The pump station will be probably the quietest neighbor anybody could possibly have. All the pumps will be inside. You might be able to hear the pumps if you get close to the door. There will be a backup generator that will be tested once a month for an hour or two. The access road will also have provisions for large trucks to come in to bring in disinfection chemicals. It works best to have large internal tanks rather than daily deliveries, so they'll be receiving deliveries probably once a month. And dairy staff will be visiting the pump station once a day to check on things. So, entertain any questions?
Any questions from the council?
I got a couple questions.
Good.
Originally, we did the walkthrough.
Yes.
Myself and Councilor Paul were there. And it was across the street, correct?
Correct.
And we had met with the neighbors. And
Right.
now this is going to be a new spot.
Yes.
And, all right. Okay. And what kind of feedback have you gotten back from the neighbors? Anything?
I spoke with Ms. Aru at 56, and he had no concerns about it. And I got an email this morning, actually, from the owner of 60, and they just mentioned that they're aware of it. They didn't have any comments yet, but I expect, I'm hoping, actually, that both of them appear at the council, at the planning board meeting, where there will be opportunity for public comment.
Yeah, after attending that meeting, I think this is a great alternative that you guys
good.
picked. And
Glad
I
you
want to
think
thank
so.
you for that.
Yeah.
I want to thank you.
Council.
So just for the audience,
Sure.
and for perspective, I mean, we were there. Could you kind of show where the old, Dan, you're right there, where the old one was gonna be? I mean, where they planned to do it first.
This area?
It's off the page, further to the right. Yeah.
Off the map.
So it was down that way more.
It's hundreds of feet to the right.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
More this way.
Okay.
That's a great use of that land.
It is, and so I guess you mentioned that you were going to be doing some improvements for the residents. Could you kind of elaborate, on what those improvements may be?
Well, the water main that will go down Old Dairy Road will have services to stubbed to the property line for every property
In Londonderry.
for future connections.
Okay, and so the only if you could just kind of list what the benefits will be for Londonderry itself. I mean, I hear it going down south, and I understand the bigger picture.
Right.
But I kind of want to be able to understand how this is going to help Londonderry and Londonderry's water issues.
Do you want to address that?
Sure. I mean, you're doing great.
Thank you.
I was going to jump in on fire hydrants. We're going to have fire hydrants spaced every 800 feet, which improves the safety to the residents all along this street. There is a water main stub on Kala Road should you wish to expand water into Lorton Commons. So we're basically, bringing water to the doorstep and helping funding potential future water expansion if it's needed due to contamination. So, We are bringing water to the doorstep.
I think it's important to add that Calicourt does have houses that have high PFAS concentrations above acceptable drinking levels, and we had those discussions as you
Well,
remember.
that was kind of the direction I was heading them into. I mean, is there any way to maybe help these people a little bit with their problems with water than just leaving the stumps there? I mean, are you guys gonna, where is he? Mike, are you gonna like maybe leave something on their door about the $10,000 hookup and get them hooked up? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's not time to do it. It's when the construction's
It's not
going on.
so much the hookup, they're going to stub it to Calicourt right off Old Dairy, so we would have to move it up the street and then get it on the street, and then the houses could hook up then. So that's as far as it will go. As you know, it ends over on the other side. So we have Iris and Cala that presently, and most of Cala doesn't have water presently.
Right, and
municipal
I'm just
water.
trying to benefit our people.
Oh, I know you are. And you're
for
doing
our
well.
land. We're giving
Sure.
our land. You know, we're giving it to them. They're using it. They're gonna
So they're taking those ARPA
help all these
funds.
other towns.
They're using those ARPA funds, and they're going to bring that water closer to this location, but we're going to have to extend it the rest of the way. The ARPA funds that they have are not authorized to be used for anything other than this extension.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Any other questions from the council?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ted.
Who will technically be owning this pump station?
The town of Derry.
The town of Derry.
The division will be basically right at the pump station line, so Manchester Waterworks franchise area will extend to basically where the water main stubs in, and then Derry will own and operate from then on, heading towards Derry.
Mr. Town Manager, will we be collecting taxes off this developed piece of property, or no?
No, because it's being used by governmental entities, so it's not taxable.
Okay, just want to make sure, since it's cross-town
Yeah.
governmental entity, I wasn't sure.
It's not like Pennachuck Waterworks, which is a private entity. They do pay taxes on the utilities that they have, but governmental entities do not pay taxes under New Hampshire state law.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification. All set?
Any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
What do you wanna do?
I will move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby authorize the town manager to negotiate and execute an easement agreement and recordable deed granting to the town of Derry an easement to construct, operate, and maintain a water booster pump station on town of Londonderry owned property identified as tax map 16, lot 23-0.
I have a motion by Sean,
Second.
second by Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is receiving a status update on vacant positions. Mr. Campbell. Good evening, sir.
How is everybody? All right. Well, as you guys requested, I have provided a memo with the status update of vacant positions as of July 31st, 2025. And I want to emphasize it's as of that date because things are constantly changing. As you can see from the memo, we currently have 13 full-time positions, including those that are being filled by a contract, and 6 part-time positions that are opened. Since this posting, 3 of the positions, including the full-time prosecutor and 2 of the part-time children's librarian, have been posted on the website for future employment or for open for the public.
Any questions for Justin from the council?
The only thing I wanted to bring up, and I asked this to be on the agenda because I want to make it very clear through the years, the town has operated with vacant positions to balance the budget instead of filling the positions. And then they still even ask for additional positions. So I want to make it clear where I'm standing as one counselor that I am not looking to add any positions if you're not filling positions.
So that was a previous practice.
Yep.
That has since changed to the degree that we are able to fill the budget as we are able to. As you guys have heard me probably ad nauseum say, we're trying to right size the budget. An example of that would be the police department, where up until 3 years ago, for their entire fleet of vehicles, they had $4,000 for vehicle maintenance. I don't think they could get oil changes once for all their vehicles with $4,000. If you look at the budget over the past several years, you'll see that has bumped up, which has allowed them to fill up further and further. However, we're not going to hire somebody that just has a pulse and warm blood. We want to make sure that they fit the need of the department and that they are up to the qualification of whatever department is looking to fill the positions.
I think it's also important to add that the police department in this case has 68 sworn full-time positions, at which presently 6 are not filled. So that's obviously less than 10%, like 9%. So you have natural turnover in the position, and the time it takes to fill these is about a year. Dan, you know this, obviously.
Yeah.
It takes about a year to fill one of those positions. So when they do become open, we obviously advertise for those and we fill them to the extent that we can. As you know, in this constrained labor market for employees in general, and law enforcement in particular, that's very difficult to find people who want to do this work weekends and holidays and nights and all kinds of hours, and then deal with the things that police officers have to deal with. So the competition's pretty stiff. There are some departments in our state that are short 45% of their police forces. We have one of the best records, actually having the least amount of openings comparatively per capita than those other departments that do. So I think they do a pretty good job of filling those as soon as they can. But again, it takes time, about a year before you start a process and you get an officer out there on solo patrol. So it does take quite a bit of time to do that. And they're in the process of doing that constantly.
Deb, you had a question?
Well, first I was saying God bless you to someone else. That's beside the point. And I don't know if this is you or not, or if there is a policy for this, so we don't fall into this rabbit hole again. Should we put some sort of thing in place that if a position's been open for, I don't know, a year and a half and we haven't filled it, we remove it from the budget, and then if it's warranted, put it back in? Instead of leaving it there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? This way you won't fall into it sitting there over and over and over again, and somebody forgets about it.
I'm not sure that anybody's forgotten about
I was
some
gonna
of
say-
the positions. Those are discussions that happen at department level.
Okay.
So when I came here, there was a number of positions filled. As you know, I think you know, we just finally filled after 3 years the engineer position with a deputy.
No, I didn't know, but go ahead.
Deputy. It happened on Saturday. A deputy DPW director, the person took the job. So after 3 years, we're able to, after trying to find someone, we finally done that. And the same thing in the case of assessing. We had a contractor do that, but we're actually going to fill the third position that we have been budgeted for all along. And that's what you talked about, the contracting situation. So we are filling those, and I've made sure that those positions are out there, as Justin indicated, to be filled. Sometimes it takes a while to actually find a qualified candidate to fill them, especially in the labor market that we are in.
I just didn't want to fall back into them sitting there for a long period of time without having anybody in them, or even at that point maybe evaluating it. Do we actually need this position, or should it be something else?
Which is exactly what we have done in several different cases in the short period of time I've been here, to do just that and assess.
So we've adopted some sort of new policy to maintain this.
We look at each position on a case-by-case basis. Does it make sense to fill that position? Does it make sense to contract that out? Does it make sense to change that position, depending on what the circumstances are?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just
Wait,
want.
Ted,
go ahead, Ted.
This may not be, I guess, a question for Justin, but maybe the HR director, if they're available at some point, but Mr. Town Manager, you might be able to answer this. Why are their positions not being advertised just yet?
That's a good question, because in some cases I'm not sure why the departments didn't ask for a requisition, and when I saw the ones that were empty, you've got these positions, you're funded for them, why are we not filling them?
Right.
So I've done that, and I've changed the processes in some cases to make sure we can fill the positions, like in the case of the engineer position. And obviously that change in process seems to have worked. We were able to hire somebody after 3 years. So I'm looking at all those very closely, because if these positions are not needed, I don't want to spend the money, because we don't have endless amounts of money that everybody's well aware of that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm looking at our prosecutor position.
So that has now been advertised.
It now has been advertised.
Correct.
Okay, that's how that's written. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to emphasize as of July 31st.
Thank you.
This is one of the tricky ones where it depends on what day you ask is what this is.
And what about the part-time communications operator?
So I can't speak for the fire department on that, but my estimate would be that they are more focused on filling the full-time. And they're hoping that during those interviews, they may find someone that is willing to step into the part-time.
Gotcha.
Where you don't want to have a good candidate apply for the part-time and potentially not have them available for the full-time, or they take a job as a part-time and then they fill their additional time with another job, so you now lose that candidate as a full-time option. But again, I'm not trying to speak for the fire department on that. That would be up to them and when they want to fill that position. The other ones that are not advertised at this point would be the assistant assessor, which, as we've indicated, there's a candidate and it will be advertised. The librarian, as you're aware, they've had some discussions about the language on the positions, which is part of the reason why we can't advertise when we don't have the job description finalized. And the last one is the assessor, which is filled by a contracted position at this point.
The librarian posters.
Yes, those have now been, the librarians have now been posted as well as of today.
Wonderful.
So the only ones that are not up on the website as of this point are the part-time telecommunications for fire and the 2 assessing positions. And the assessing position, one of them, we are altering the job description to who they report to and things of that nature, which requires the union's agreement, and then it will be processed.
Awesome.
So that is also actually part of the reason why positions may not be advertised right away, is if the job description is being changed.
Dan, you had a question?
I just wanted to make a comment that one of the reasons why I brought this up when I was sitting on the other side for many years, I know you heard me questioning vacant positions. And when the police department requested 2 positions this last budget cycle and got voted down by the taxpayers, I think it's a message telling you don't ask for people when you've got vacant positions. Fill those first, because it was overwhelmingly people defeated that. All right, and I have no problem, filling positions. Approving funding for positions. It's just through the years we've just seen that. No,
And it's one, I don't mean to cut you off, I apologize.
Right.
I don't want to sound like a broken drum, but that has been kind of the handcuffs of default budget.
Right.
We've worked our best to get away from that, where we're actually able to provide an operating budget that actually reflects what's being spent rather than what you're stating, which is the case that as it previously was of we have 4 open positions. That's covering the fact that vehicle maintenance is costing us $60,000, but we only have $4,000 budgeted. Where we've worked very hard over the past several years to kind of right-size that and get that in line, so that way not only are lines like that fixed, but also things such as training and other aspects that provide additional information and make our first responders and all employees better well-trained and provide a safer atmosphere for them as well.
So we've right-sized our budgets now, and they're where they should be, correct?
They're a lot closer to where they should be.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
Sounds good. Looks like you've filled the whole town.
We're trying.
Thank you, sir. For
99.9.
this. Up next is a discussion and approval of the Cable Capital Reserve Fund. Mr. Campbell.
Yes, so this is their annual request for $8,000, which is part of the Comcast Public Education. It's the Public Education and Government Access Programming to assist with the cost associated with it.
Any questions from the council?
I'll make a motion that we move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby approves the withdrawal request and directs the town manager to disperse $8,000 from the Cable Equipment Capital Reserve Fund for the aforementioned items.
Motion from Dan. Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Up next is discussion and approve the expenditure of a roadway maintenance trust fund. Mr. Trotter.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. John Trotter, Director of Engineering and Environmental Services. I'm here this evening to request the town council authorize the town manager to expend $700,000 from the roadway maintenance trust fund for the purpose of completing various roadway maintenance and improvement projects outlined in the list attached to this evening's order of the agenda item itself. So as you'll see, there's there's approximately 20 roads that we're looking to do some shim and overlay during the fiscal year 2026 construction season. Of those 20 roads, again, it amounts to about $1.2 million. We're asking for $700,000 from the roadway maintenance trust fund. We're going to expend $500,000 from our roadway maintenance line item. So again, it's kind of how we take monies from our roadway maintenance trust fund and utilize our roadway maintenance line item itself. Again, you'll see the list of roads is there. Back in fiscal year 24, about a year ago, we had asked for $173,000 from the maintenance trust fund, and we spent $950,000 improving 12 of the roads here in town. So again, as I say, you see the roads are listed on the back side of that. Ted, I'll cut to the chase. Bancroft Road, again, it's not on the list right now. I do have a conceptual plan on my desk. Again, as you know, Bancroft Road is an old road.
It's a little bumpy.
A little bumpy, yeah. A little undefined, variable right-of-ways. A lot of trees, a lot of stone walls. So I am working with both the utility companies to move some of those, moving all those poles, to be honest with you.
I'm sure you're probably waiting for the pump station and the sewer line to happen on Hardy and Bancroft, right?
I'd like to dovetail
line up that timing.
together. Correct.
Makes a lot more sense instead of doing it and then redoing it.
Yeah, but I still need to, the pump station force main and gravity ends at the westerly end of the Eversource right-of-way.
Yeah, it's like in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it is on the list.
Yeah.
So, just cutting to the chase. Any questions?
Any other questions from the council?
I just have something.
Good, Dan.
As usual.
You have some other type of?
No. Town manager brought up the management assessment program that he was looking at implementing for the town. I just want to share this with the council that I hope that we get that management program in place. So it would be helpful for us when we do budgeting, planning, to see what we're doing to these roads, as far as keeping a record of maintenance. I mean, what was done? Was it patch? Was it crack sealing? How old is this road? This is all something that is going to be great in this program if we can get this. And it also will tell us how much traffic the road, gets, so that, all right, maybe this is not really a priority road. Maybe we need to look at another road that needs more attention. So I hope management assessment program will help us in this. Thank you.
Yeah, and since I've been here, Dan, again, we've always just had a roadway maintenance line item,
Yep.
as well as a roadway maintenance trust fund.
Yep.
So again, our philosophy has always been, let's keep our good roads good, and
Yep.
then when we have the sufficient funds to do a full depth reconstruction of roadway, that's what we would do.
Yep, I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
You want me to make a motion?
Yeah. go ahead.
I'll make a motion that the Londonderry Town Council hereby approves Order 2025-16, authorizing the town manager to expend $700,000 from the Roadway Maintenance Trust Fund for the purpose of completing various roadway maintenance and improvement projects outlined in the attached supporting documents.
Motion by Dan.
Second.
Second by Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is discussion and approval of the criteria for the prioritization of water extension projects. Do you want to start off?
Thank you very much. So I'm going to be discussing the actual decision criteria, but before I go over that with you, we have Lynn Wiles, the chair of the Utilities Committee, and Jeff McGraw, who is the chair of the Water Subcommittee of the Utilities Committee, who are both instrumental in this process.
Absolutely.
They're going to give you a quick update on what has been going on and how we got to this point.
Welcome, gentlemen.
So, good evening, councilors, town manager, Kirsten, thank you. So, my name's Lynn Wiles, 46 Bartley Hill Road. I'm the chairman of the Londonderry Utilities Committee. The Utilities Committee is a group of really dedicated individuals. We look at a lot of different things. We're split up into separate subcommittees, 4 different subcommittees, of which water is probably the primary amount of work, or the most amount of work, the most amount of involvement from the subcommittee, or from the committee itself. And but I just want to recognize we have a number of committee members here tonight. I think
stand up, please?
These guys have done an amazing amount of work.
I'll say you guys do fabulous work. Absolutely.
So we're here tonight to talk about a number of different topics. We're here tonight to talk about a number of different things, but I will say that Jeff McGraw is the chairman of the Water Subcommittee. Kirsten Hildenan is our administrative support person from the town hall. They do a tremendous amount of work, and they did all the heavy lifting for tonight, so I'm going to let them take over.
Great. Thanks, Lon. All right, so...
Just do the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Geez, sorry. So we, I think it was last year, we had we did a little bit of work on the water pipeline build out on High Range. We put together a small video on the public access channel. And then, everybody in the room, I'm sure, is aware of the contamination for PFAS and PFOAs from a nearby town, from a nearby company. So one of the things we've looked at water is the problem with contamination. And our big concern is how do we ensure that our neighbors and residents get clean, fresh, abundant, affordable water? One of the challenges is the PFOAs are forever chemicals that build up and they don't really disperse over time. And a lot of our neighbors are on wells, and that those chemicals build up in the wells and build up in the water. So there's a potential for a lot of contamination in the well water. So if we look here, if everybody should be able to see this, Ron, I can see here. If you look at the red dots on this map, those are people that are over 12, I think it's nanograms per liter of PFOA contamination. And according to the EPA, that is unhealthy numbers, and the recommend having the water treated or having some sort of POET system or some sort of way to protect from that. And I've been told, and I've read several places, that those numbers are coming down from 12 to, I've heard 4, and I've heard other numbers, but I've seen many, many places that it's coming down. So all
Standards coming down.
The standards are coming tighter. So everything that you see there in red is currently over the standard, and everything that you see there in yellow and green, or at least in yellow and some of the stuff in green, potentially could be over the standard in the not too distant future. I'm not sure what's the criteria for that, but I just read the news that I see on the web. So we started looking at ways that we could make sure that all of our neighbors can get clean water. And as you see, 1,100 wells sampled, half of them exceed their recommended numbers. This is a little bit dated, but not too far. And again, those are numbers from 2 years ago, and the criteria are just getting tighter. So to fix that, we started looking at, why is it important? I'm not going to sit and read all this from everybody. PFOAs are bad. I'm sure everybody here who's...
Jeff, if you could just speak in the mic so people at home
sorry,
can hear you.
I'm sorry.
They want to hear it at home. That's all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody in town is aware of the problems with PFOAs. It's an issue that we've been dealing with for several months, several years. And I know that there are discussions going on in some of the homes within the consent decree. That is not what I've been looking at. I know other people are looking at that, so I've been very careful to not touch that. So we started looking at what we can do in the areas outside of the consent decree. So we got some data on the parts of Londonderry that have what we call town water and don't have town water. And in the yellow and in the purple, and there's a little bit of green up there on the top. The yellow is Pennachuck water. The purple is Manchester water. The green is Derry water. And everything in the white are people that don't have access to town water. So they're using well water, which may or may not be contaminated and theoretically is becoming more contaminated over time. So our thought is, how do we bring town water to all of our neighbors? None of us on the utility committee are engineers that would build this, so we reached out to Pennachuck to see if they would give us some information. They did a really nice engineering analysis, which is on the town website. And the maps on the right-hand side there, they broke up the build-out into several different stages of different criteria, which we'll discuss later. Different steps of building out, so it's not one huge project. It's, broken down. And the key takeaway is, this analysis, we are focused on the engineering and economic considerations. We are not discussing policy with these guys. The utility committee is focused on the engineering concerns and providing options for this body. We also were pleased that there was some prior art from a couple years ago from Weston and Sampson that looked at a lot of the same material. And so we incorporated some of their analysis. We need to look at that in a lot more detail, but we incorporated that analysis. So the takeaway from this is we have two professionals who've looked at the problem of building out water to all of our neighbors, and it's a big bill. The next two slides talk a little bit about that. The first one was from Pennachuck. That's $258 million on Pennachuck and $209 million from the Weston and Sampson report. Those reports, that's quite a bit difference. $50 million is a lot of difference, but it's directionally similar. And we don't have the specifics on what exactly is in each package, so there might be a few things in one package that are not in the other. But this is really good directional data on the budget. But the takeaway from this is we can't write a check for $250 million out of Londonderry budget. I think we have some data on this right here is the budget this is our budget for per year. Is that correct, Kirsten?
These are the budgets for fiscal year 2024, 2025, and 2026. It's the full appropriation, and that's why for fiscal year 2025, that includes all of the grant funding that we received that went towards that project. So this is all of the appropriations and all of the revenue sources for that year, which is why that one looks so high, because of the $11 million plus of funding that we got for the water projects.
Yeah. So the takeaway is this build out costs almost 10 times 5 to 10 times the entire budget of the town of Londonderry. And if we take 10%, it shows there it's almost 50 years to get this all built out if we paid for it ourselves. However, we had a really nice conversation with Sean and Kirsten, and we had some nice discussions on getting various state, federal, regional funding. We're looking into that. The next step is to work on getting individual projects packaged as, building out for these 10 or 20 or 50 houses, these 10 or 20 or 50 houses, this pipeline. So instead of looking at a project that's $258 million, we're looking at a project that's $10 million, and then another project that's $5 million, and then other projects that's $15 million, and then we can try to get grant funding for individual projects. That's the next step, and that's what the criteria comes from. We've had quite a few conversations with individuals in the town leadership. Most of those people are in this room. Kirsten has been very helpful. Sean has been very helpful. The next steps, as I said, are to get the packages together for the build out, develop a Londonderry plan. So we're not looking at a Pennachuck plan or the engineering company's plan. We want our plan. Those guys are just providing us options. So tonight, what we need is approval on the selection criteria, which Kirsten will talk about. And what would be really helpful is we've done a lot of sort of volunteer committee work on getting our arms around what can be done. And we're getting to the point very quickly where we need to put some pen to paper and get some actual numbers on what things are going to cost and what's the next project we're going to do. So this side project is going to become a pretty beefy project in the not too distant future. But again, it's going to take decades, and it's something that I think everybody in the town understands that we need, and it'll be good for the whole town. But that's what we've done so far. There's a heck of a lot of work that needs to be done going forward. Does anybody on the utility committee have any specific comments? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
Oh, just talking to the mics.
Sorry.
Really okay here. Yes,
is there anybody on the utility committee that has a specific comment or addition to something I might have missed? I try to work collaboratively with the team, so.
So I will say that this is, I think, a significant issue in the town. I mean, safe, clean drinking water. I mean, what can be more important than that, right, for the town residents? And it's a regional issue too. We just heard the presentation, from the state about putting the booster station down on Old Dairy Road to support water going to other sections of the state. We're not. I don't think we're approaching this as Londonderry being an island in the sea. I mean, we have to approach it as a bigger problem, and I think with that, we'll get more traction quicker. But the numbers may scare us, but you look at what the health implications are if not doing anything, and I think that's where we have to focus our attention on.
Yeah, you look at the cost, and it's I'm going to do some quick math in my head. Well, I'm not even going to do the math, but if you think of the property value cost of someone whose home doesn't have access to clean water, and then you bring them clean water, that's worth more than a few dollars. Right. And having a town that does not have is not known for having contaminated water, I think would be we could all agree is a good thing.
Would you guys want to explain how putting this in phases will help us with grants, just for the public at home?
Can I ask you to move forward, and can we
go
through
the
criteria,
because I just want
and
the public at home to
understand
how important this is.
Yeah, sure.
So the action that we are asking from you tonight is to approve this decision criteria for water infrastructure prioritization. This criteria has gone through 2 rounds of review with the Water Subcommittee and 1 round of review with the full Utilities Committee, and the version you see in front of you has been approved by both. What you see in the slide is just a more visually appealing version. This criteria, to Lynn's point and to Jeff's point, the projects that we come up with can't just be hopes and dreams. To have a shelf-ready project means that it needs to be clearly delineated, completely understood, and fully conceptualized. And then we need to, as you've seen, we have a lot of people in town who need the ability to access clean water. So we need to think about how we're going to put these projects in order. What are the first 10 projects on the shelf? What are the second 10 projects on the shelf? So we can be consistently and regularly applying for grant funding. At the same time, having criteria such as this forces us to answer those questions in advance, making our projects inherently more competitive for grants and making us have a much clearer vision and understanding of the extent of the problem in our community. Simply the act of gathering this data will help us immensely in our success for these projects. So what you have in front of you here, these are the first 4. This next slide has the next 3. But quite simply, the first criteria is contamination risk. What's in the water that's not good for you, and how bad is it? The second one, sensitive populations. So this is evaluating the places where people who, and we're using sensitive population in an environmental health context here, elderly, the young, people with recurrent health issues, making sure that those areas are prioritized insofar as they haven't been yet. And this is a step of research that we're going to undertake if you approve this criteria. And that's fortunately something that we can do entirely in-house. Proximity to existing water infrastructure. It's easier to connect where you already have something to connect to. And so those service maps that you saw from Jeff earlier, those are going to be incredibly important in understanding where we can build now and where we need additional infrastructure, whether it is mains, pump stations, and whatever else that we need to build it. Number 4 is population density. How can we get the largest number of people clean water the fastest? Can we go to the next slide, Jeff, please? Thank you. The next criteria we need to evaluate is construction feasibility. What are the challenges that are going to exist when we actually go to put the shovels in the ground? You know, we are the granite state, and there's a lot of granite ledge. There's also right-of-way issues. There's access issues. There's easement issues, soil conditions. There's a number of things that need to be evaluated on every construction project, as well as environmental issues. The next one is the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services rebate utilization rates. So if we look at who has used a rebate and who hasn't, we can see what areas are perhaps maybe not aware of this, what areas have taken advantage of it, and what areas might be more likely to connect. It's an additional data point that can help us figure out who we need to be talking to and when. And the last one is fire protection needs. While not number 1 on the list, and certainly not entirely what we're going to base our decision-making on, your decision-making on, we suggest that fire protection needs be a part of every conversation, both for the benefit of the homeowners and for the benefit of the town as a whole. The last thing here was originally a criteria with an asterisk next to it, but through our conversations, we added it on, and that's simply the availability of funds and funding sources. That is going to move projects up and down the list of what we can do when. So for example, if we have a $25 million project on the top of the list, but we have we figure we can get $1.2 million worth of funds, we're certainly going to target a project on that list that we could do for that sum total instead. So those are the considerations that are going to move things up and down the list.
So are these considerations in priority order?
So thank you for asking that. They are in order, but they are not ranked or weighted. And what I mean by that is we have not assigned a specific numerical value. There's no calculation behind this. But if we have 2 projects that are worth $1.2 million, that are going to cost $1.2 million, and we have that available, we've put more importance on the lower numbers. So, for example, that idea of contamination risk weighs a little higher than population density in this. And that might be, I don't want to use the word tiebreaker, but that might move a project up faster if they're very, very similar in terms of cost and what we could use the money for.
Any other questions from the council?
Did I hear you correctly? Your data points about people who may have gotten rebates from the state, would those be, I guess, a positive item for a particular area or a negative item?
There's not really a positive or a negative item for it necessarily.
Okay.
So it's a data point, and we can look at if there's an area with high contamination but no rebate usage, that is going to spark a conversation with those residents. Try and figure out why. And it can also identify areas where we need to have more interactions, more education, where we need to seek out other information to figure out why that perhaps there's areas, pockets of low rebate usage. Are those areas desperately waiting to save their rebate money to hook up to a water line? Are they more likely to hook up to a water line? Or is there an area with high rebate usage where they're really happy with their POET systems? We know what questions to ask when we're discussing these things with residents.
I think the other end maybe is people may have gone ahead and used their rebate because they never knew when or if there would be water piping coming down their road.
Exactly. Yep.
So.
And so it can help us plan what we're going to need to help those residents out and understand what considerations we have in each place. Absolutely.
Any other questions from the council?
I have one other. I don't know if you guys are able to release or not yet what roads you may want to put priority to. I don't know if you're willing to release that yet.
So
that's what we need.
That's what we. Yeah.
This process that the committee did a lot of work on this. Obviously, the town's done a lot of work to this prior to now. You've got a lot of money to do the work that you have done. So previous councils, staff, and the committee that's involved here have done a lot of work to get to that. We need to shift into a different process. The availability of funds is becoming more and more constrained. It's going to be far more competitive. The committee was wise in developing and proposing this criteria to you because the state is going to look at how serious is the town of Londonderry about this. They've gone through and they've developed a whole criteria, which the state also uses a similar criteria to determine which grants are going to be approved. And then they've gone and they've broken it out into, I propose 10 phases of projects that have those on the shelf ready to go. They're serious. Other communities might have 1 or 2 projects, but we're going to have as many as 10. So when we go in there and say, look, I got 10 projects, I've got this many people that impacts, we're going to be in a much stronger position to be able to advocate for those money. So this is just one piece of a larger advocacy program to get more funds to our town, funds that we send to Washington or to Concord back here to the town of Londonderry to deal with the problems that we have. So this committee's done a lot of work with staff to develop this criteria. This is the first step of that, and then that allows us to take the next step and for a very well planned out process to hopefully be successful and get more federal funds and state funds.
Wonderful, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a statement.
Okay.
This is a lot of work, and thank you. You did a good job getting this all put together finally. I think it's amazing, and it's a great step in the right direction to finally taking more steps to getting everybody on clean water, as you just said, which is very, very important. So, good
This
job.
committee is fantastic. They don't mess around. They're great. They put a lot of work into this and a lot of their
And thank you for
thought.
helping them,
Oh,
because
we
that
do
was
mess
a
around.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, we messed around
We
with
have
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So what do we need?
Yep.
So,
So-
Mr. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Mr. Chair, what we're asking of you is to adopt this as the council's criteria, which will then become Town Council Policy 104.
So I'll make a motion that the Londonderry Town Council hereby approves the criteria as detailed in the agenda packet for the prioritization of water line extensions to provide safe drinking water to residents and businesses in the town.
Motion by Sean,
Second.
second by Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you very much for all your hard work. Everybody on the utility committee, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is discussion to vote on the criteria for Pettingill Road TIFT Advisory Board. Good, sir.
So as council's aware, you've already approved the TIF district on the Pettingill Road area, so that matter is already addressed. In that is the statutory requirement to create a TIF advisory board. So this is the next step of that, to actually create that board. And you have the language before you to take that into consideration. You can make the board any size that you wish. I recommended a smaller board. It's easier to manage. And, we have a lot of volunteers here in town, but they are not endless numbers of them. So I recommended the board of 3 people, that being 1 town council and 2 other persons as outlined in the statute. And that's what you have before you.
Any questions to council?
So I'm noticing here on our section from the state RSA that it says that we may adopt this chapter, not that we must.
You already adopted the chapter. The question is, once you've done that, you've created the TIF district, you shall create a TIF advisory board. And now you're at that point to do that. So the town did have a choice in adopting the 162K, which you have done some time ago. This is not your first TIF district, obviously,
No.
you know. So that's already done. Now and it says shall. You shall create a TIF advisory board. And again, now you're at that stage to do that.
It also says that the majority of the members shall be owners or occupants of the real property within the community, and at least 1 member shall be an owner or occupant of the real property within the development district. And it also states that it can be elected or appointed. If you'd like to see the thing, I have it right here, under the 162K14. So we have to stick to all of those things. Shouldn't that be in the verbiage?
Like the resolution?
I'm sorry?
Like the resolution that's been proposed?
Yeah.
225-17.
Yeah, it's outlined within the resolution. So I guess I'll move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby establish the Pettingill Road TIF Advisory Board as with the authority and responsibilities as detailed in the resolution 2025-17.
I have a motion from Sean.
Second.
I heard Dan first. Second from Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. All right. Next up is discuss the request from Councilor Paul to adopt the provisions of a municipal budget committee. Ms. Paul.
Well, a while back, there was a citizen's petition to look at the budget committee not being just advisory, but actually creating the default budget. After doing a little bit more research in this, there were a lot of options that I was discovering, and I would like it for the town manager to basically go and find out all the legal requirements for doing this and what options are necessary to do this, and to make the changes into the charter and adopt any of the provisions of the RSA 32:14 as may be needed. Further, have the town council request the town manager to present this report to the town council no later than October 6, 2025. And I brought this forward because over 3,000 people in the town of Londonderry, out of the almost 4,000 that came out to vote, voted to have this looked at and seriously considered. And I personally would like to have the budget committee come in. I mean, they're doing this work already, and we're asking them to make cuts and recommendations, and they do all this work, and nothing happens. And that's my my motion is to have the town council manager look at this.
Do you understand it's not the same body of work that they'd be doing today if we change this?
I'm sorry?
They would be doing other things. So they would be preparing the budget. It actually changes the work they're doing, so they're not already doing it today.
Well, I don't know this, Sean, and the reason I don't know this is because I would like to have the town manager look at it and see what our obligations are if we do change it. There are 3 or 4 different options that we can choose and how our budget committee, functions. And I think that there is nothing wrong, since the majority of people out there voted for us to do a deep research into it. We should at least give them that credit that we're going to go do that for them.
So my understanding that we're not changing anything. This is just looking at what our options are. Correct, Mr. Town Manager?
I guess. Go ahead. Feel free to
That
answer.
is what the motion says. It's to direct me to go and put together the options that you would consider, and which way all the options that are available to you, and you pick which one you want, if any of those, to make any changes, so at least you know what they are. That's what's being asked in the motion.
Okay, so we're not changing anything today. We're just looking at options.
You can't anyway, because you have to either make a charter change or adopt the statute, so you don't have the authority, the council doesn't have the unilateral authority to do that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I think the only thing I would add to this is that having served on the budget committee, I know sometimes it can be very frustrating. You spend all this time doing all the work, all the homework, all the research, present it, and nothing happens. So I'm also looking at it and saying, all right, if we have 3 options for taxpayers to vote on, it also can be confusing. So that's why I guess I'd like more information about it. So
Would you second my motion then?
I'll second that motion.
So I guess.
Had a motion yet.
I
thought you made a motion.
I made a motion.
Oh, okay. Before I came in.
So I guess I have just one thing to say about this.
Yeah.
Part of the issue I have with these things that frequently keep coming up, and I guess this is where we end up at odds, is not necessarily with the content of this. It's that there's no real research done into it at all. And so we get an idea, then we get to spend legal resources and town resources to look into it, when a basic hour could show some of the things that are feasible or unfeasible. But it's just, you understand the title of this, but not any of the details of what's going on with it.
What I understand is that people voted for it, and we as councilors should do our due diligence to get all the information that is factual that we can do as a town, and put it out there and have a public discussion with people and the budget committee to see what's the best path for Londonderry at this moment in time.
Well, we can have a public discussion about it, but when this hits the agenda, I do my research on the subject before we get to this meeting. And you want the town manager and some legal fees to be added to it without doing the research before we get to the meeting.
I will just say that we've spent a lot of money on a lot of other things that are less important than something like this.
That's never
because people voted for it, Sean. You and I are never going to agree. I'm not going to argue with you. We have a motion and a second, so I guess we need to take a vote.
Can I ask the town manager a
I
question?
didn't hear the motion, so.
Can I ask the town manager a question?
Absolutely.
Town manager, how much money do you think we'd be spending on legal fees for this? Or, if any?
We would have to spend some money on legal, but they're not going to be extensive. They're
Okay.
going to review the statute and confirm what I'm going to produce as the options, and just make sure that what I'm producing meets the legal requirements.
So you'll be doing most of the work.
I'm going to be doing most of the work.
Thank you.
And
So I'll just add one last piece here before we go to vote on this to move forward. I'm reviewing this item on our state laws, and it looks like it's really no different from what we're already currently doing with our own budget committee members. I don't see what's the point of changing it when, from what I'm reading on our state websites for the RSAs, there's no real difference from what it is compared to what our budget committee already does. I'm just confused upon what.
Maybe there isn't, Ted. Maybe, there's not much difference. Maybe we just need to have a discussion as a board and the involvement with the budget committee. So whatever they produce, we listen to them. I know in the past, I know when I was on the budget committee, we went through all the line items and, we brought up some ideas on what to cut and stuff like that. And it was, received. I've seen changes through the years. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just open to that. I'm just looking at how can we improve the process of the budget process where we have the council and the budget committee working cohesively together.
That's
what I'm looking
budget
for.
committee, has the freedom to go and work with Justin on the finance items, go and work with the town manager and ask questions. And our budget committee members have done quite a bit of homework in the past, and they've done and brought forth a lot of good information for the council for us, and brought a lot of good points forward. And a lot of what I'm reading on our state's RSAs and from the New Hampshire Municipal Association, it's really no different from what we allow our community members to already do.
Except they would be the watchdog creating the default budget, maybe. We make these people run for an office to give us advice, and then they have no teeth and no power. It's kind of sad because they bring it up all the time, and they come up with all these ideas for us, and nothing usually happens.
So answer your question.
And that's why I want to bring this forward.
So what will happen is we end up having them create the budget. So right now, Justin creates the budget. We have financial professionals create the budget. So the budget committee will create the budget. Then the budget will be a combination of the school and the town. So the budget committee's purview will also affect that aspect of it. So it changes it. Usually it's reserved for smaller towns, not towns that have gotten to this size.
So just for clarification, this is only to get more information, correct? This does not change anything.
That's what the motion calls for,
Right.
is for me to outline all the options and what the consequences, pros and cons, to the extent that I can do that, as to what those are. And then legal counsel will review that to make sure that what
It's just
I am
information.
presenting meets statutory requirements
Right.
or complies with the charter.
And is October 6th enough time for you to do that?
Yes, because if you are going to make charter changes, that's pretty much the deadline because there's a backwards time planning to be able to do that. So if I push it beyond that, then I give you options that you can't exercise for a whole nother year. So that's why I put it down for October 6th, if you choose to exercise any of those at all.
So
That's why I've done that.
I guess on the difference between this and some of the other things that have been proposed, you're right. The voters did vote for this. We can spend some money to take a look at it. It's just some of the other things that, I have an issue with us having him do the work when we could do the research. But on this, I'm fine with it.
So
Okay.
make your motion.
So yeah, just repeat the motion because
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
So I'm going to make a motion that the Londonderry Town Council hereby requests that the town manager explore the legal requirements and options necessary to make acceptable changes to the town charter and/or adoption of the provisions in RSA 32:14 as may be needed, and further that the town council requests that the town manager be present his report to the town council no later than October 6, 2025.
A motion from
Second that, please. So it's written as applicable changes instead of expected. You said, because that's a totally different
Applicable changes.
connotation.
I'm sorry.
Acceptable and applicable.
Applicable changes.
I have a motion from Deb.
Sean, you're okay with it? You want to second it?
I'm not seconding it.
I'll second it then.
Second from Dan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Next up is discussion to schedule a public hearing for September 8th relating to a request from Councilor Paul for the town to discuss changing the distribution percentage of the land use tax from the Conservation Fund. Councilor Paul, this is a first reading.
Okay. A while back, all of the land use tax at one time went directly to conservation, which allowed us to make purchases of the musquash and other pieces of property. At some point in time, the council decided to just take currently the way it is now is that the Conservation Commission gets the first $100,000 and then it's 60-40 split between the town and conservation. And with the price of land being the way it is right now to bring into conservation, they need to find other sources of funding to be able to save some more of our natural resources. So I wanted to look at reverting to this. And also there are a few other things. I just lost my whole train of thought. I'm so sorry. There's no action needed to any of this. We just want to look at maybe going back to the way we used to do things since land has now skyrocketed, and we need to think about that.
Discussion from the council.
Well, I'll start. I got some questions.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to hear from the public on this.
This is the first reading.
Right,
Yep.
at some point,
Yep.
about how they feel about this, changing it. I'd also like to know, how much we take in each year, and also, would this change the impact on the budget overall every year? So going down the road, if we go down that road, those are the questions I'd be looking at.
So this money does come from, it goes to one of two sources. It goes to the CONSCOM, or it goes back to the voters in a reduction of the tax rate. So this is a one-for-one taking either from the voters, getting the money. So we can't use this for any other source. If you go on the amount that was paid last year, it would be $95 off everyone's tax bill. So that's about where this sits in the amount of money. There's currently $1.6 million in the account. So hopefully that data helps.
That helps.
Any more further
Well,
discussion?
I mean, all I want to do is have a public hearing on September 8th to hear from the public, to hear from the ComCon, and have a presentation done so that we can discuss it further. So Dan can get the answers exactly to his questions, and we can also hear from the public and how they feel that their tax dollars should be spent.
So just to be clear, obviously, you don't have the authority to make the change, so you would
Right.
get public comment, and then you would move it forward as a warrant article to do that, because that requires voter approval.
So the warrant article will go forward at town meeting,
If you choose to do so.
If we choose to.
if we did it. Okay.
And if not, then a citizen's petition, if they want to, can do the same thing.
I feel like this was approved by the voters in the ratio that we got. We have an ever decreasing amount of land to even purchase in this town. And I feel like this ratio, that the way it's, if we would increase this any further, would be a further tax burden on the people of this town, because right now that money's currently going to reducing their tax bill. And so this would be increasing their tax bill on every single person in this town.
I disagree with you, and I'm not going to argue with you because this
You don't
is
have to
not the
argue with me,
place
it's a
on the
fact.
8th. It's not a fact. It's not a fact. My tax bill has not gone down in I don't
Did you
even
do
know how many
research and
years.
find out that that's different?
You said tax bill, quote unquote.
It will make your tax bill.
My
This-
tax bill
this-
has never gone down. With
this
all the money we've
would
put into
go-
it over the years.
It goes one of two sources.
Sean,
That's it.
I'm not arguing with you right now. That isn't the discussion on the table. The discussion on the table is whether or not we want to have a public hearing on September 8th. That's it. And listen to the public, as we're supposed to do.
I
Thank
don't
you.
think, Sean, having a public hearing, listening to them.
We could have a public hearing on everything, and we have 5 different things added by you on the next one, and then we have about 4 different added on the next one. So I only want to go down roads that have some merit, not fishing expeditions on every single item that you've came up with.
And that's fine. I was elected to do a job. I'm trying to do a job. I don't want to keep pushing things out and pushing things out. I want to accomplish something. I want people to start seeing our council and our town move in a very positive direction, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm sorry we're not on the same playing field. That being said, I'd like to make a motion.
Which is why I don't want to waste time on things we're not going to do.
Again, I'm making a motion. I'd like to make a motion that the Londonderry Town Council hereby schedules a public hearing on September 8th, 2025, to receive public input and vote to charge the percentage of revenues received, I'm shaking, this is crazy, received from the land use changes from the general, and from the present, 100,000 collected in any given year, with the amounts over the distributed by the formula of 60-40 to go straight to conservation 100%.
Before somebody seconds that, the date had changed, Council Paul, to the 2nd, September 2nd. We had to change the 2 November meetings. They were scheduled originally for September 8th and 20th, and they've had to be changed to September 2nd and September 15th. So September 2nd, you'd want to make that correction in your motion. That would be the public
All
hearing
right.
if you're going to do that.
There's a hearing for September 2nd.
Thank you.
Can I get a second?
I have a motion from Deb.
I'll second it for the public hearing.
Second
Listen
from
to the
Dan.
public.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Chair votes no. Next up is old business. Discussion of the consideration of adding the Reverend Morrison House to the Hampshire State Registry. Mr. Ellis. Anything else you'd like to add from?
Microphone.
Okay.
There's really nothing that I can add to that. I mean, you know, it's the oldest public building in town. It's been judged eligible. If you add it to the registry, actually add it there, then it increases your eligibility for grants if you ever try to apply for any grants. There are no constrictions or disadvantages. The State Division of Historic Resources states clearly on the front that they do not intervene or interfere with any change or things that you might want to make to that property, and they don't even comment on it.
So, Mr. Chair, I just have a question and a
Absolutely.
statement since I was the one who
Please, go ahead.
privilege. So just my question was, what was the criteria? Because you said you researched to get on what it would take for us to get on the list. What was the criteria for us to be on the list that you went through?
You have to submit an extensive research that proves all of the claims. The state then review that. They have historians there that review the work, determine whether it's valid or not. They did send some people out. I wasn't aware of it until I found out afterwards, that went around the building and inspected it. I don't know whether that was just an external or whether they got in touch with
Mr. Wally?
yeah, the town and got inside. But
You compiled the research you did the work for all of this to check for the state?
Did I do what?
Did you do the research, or is there the research is already done?
Yes,
Correct.
you were given that.
Yep. Okay.
That was the
And thank you for doing
form
that.
was printed out last time you saw.
Okay.
That had all the research on it. It was, I think it was about, 7 or 8 pages maybe?
Yeah. So I guess this is my thought. I've been thinking about it, doing more research since the last meeting. So we do, as a council, keep kicking around things. This building is very important to this town. We've been kicking it around since before I was on the council. I would like to see something done with this building that gets it in a functionable shape. And it is my thought that we should send this to the Heritage Commission to come back with a proposal for this. And that can include putting this on the list or not. This is one of those areas where I think you guys have much more expertise in this than we do. I'd like to see it go to the Heritage Commission under the 2 conditions, for me anyway, as one counselor. I would like to see it so we can construct a warrant article, get it on the ballot this year, and quit messing around with this and get something done with that building. And I'd like to see it below $1 million so it can pass and we can get something through, because I think the voters won't approve it, and I just want to make sure we get something done to save that building. So I guess that would be my proposal, is to send this to the Heritage Commission, and I would like, we can discuss this, but those would be my criteria. I want a building that's in a usable state, and I want to make sure that the cost is below, so we can get it passed, so we can finally get this through, because the people have been waiting and that building has been sitting. And
Putting it on the Register of Historic Places isn't putting any constraint on the Heritage Commission or anyone else as to what they do with it.
Oh, yeah, no.
If you delay it, you are running, the longer you delay, the more likely you are to find that the state will want to come back in and re-examine it.
And that's why I'm leaving it up to...
strike while the iron's hot, it's already been determined to be eligible.
Yeah, and I'm not checking eligibility. I'm checking on how this fits within the entire plan. So as I stated last time, and part of the reason I invoked consular privilege is because I wanted to see a plan. I don't want to just keep us getting steps down the road. So I want to get us to the fast track to get a plan. And part of that plan may involve, okay, it's on this list. The state can remove us from this list. We can remove ourselves anytime, but the state can also remove us if we do not fit certain criteria. Some of that criteria may incur extra cost. So really what I'm trying to do is just get to the solution. Whether it goes on or off the list isn't my concern. If we can get grants and we can improve it, that's great. I'm just trying to, we've made committees for this. We've done studies, multiple studies, and we've gotten nowhere. And so I want to just, let's get through this thing and get a good proposal back so we can get this on the warrant and get this done in March. And I just don't want to kick this around anymore.
No, I think if you put it on the state register, you're expediting that process.
So yeah, and you're on the Heritage Commission, so that's a good thing. I would like to, make a motion to push this to the Heritage Commission. We can discuss criteria.
Dan, all right.
I think what we have here is we're asking, we're looking to put it on the historical registry. We're not looking at putting a warrant article or funding or trying to fix it at this point. We're just looking to try to put it on the historical registry with the state. I believe this is it's a positive step, okay, and it's a first step trying to preserve the building, and it might help us, like you said, Sean, about getting some funding. But this is not going to be a federal registry. It doesn't tie our hands. This is not where we need to delay this because we want to put on a warrant article or how much it's going to cost to fix. I mean, I asked back in March, okay, where do we stand with this building? And we're still waiting, for stuff to come back to us as far as what kind of repairs we might be looking at or whatever. So,
and I'm trying to get us one step to a plan. And I don't want to handcuff their hands if they find out that putting it on that, there's no point in putting it in and taking it back off. And I don't think they're going to take forever to come back with it. This is so, it can't go on the ballot any sooner than March. This puts us on a path to do something by March. So there's no rush to get it on the list. Let them do the analysis and tell us what's best of the entire thing so we can have an actual full plan from beginning to end, not just an idea of one little step. I want to see the full thing and get us there and get us over this hump.
Well, if I recall correctly on the last presentation, Mr. Ellis, you said that if we delay this, some of the work that's already been done that they've paid and put money into the state, it'll age, and they might have to do it again, and they might not be too favorable with that.
The historic research won't age.
Yeah,
but it's not going to age.
What will
in a
age is the state inspection.
Right.
They sent inspectors out.
Yep.
If you leave it too long, and let's say we go back in 5-6 months.
Yeah, no.
I don't know their time frames. I've no idea.
Right.
Yeah, definitely
But
not.
They might turn around and say, "Oh, we better go and take another look," and then we've got to go through it all again.
The 80,000.
Yeah, I'm not asking for 5-6 months. I want to see this, relative. I want to give you enough time, but I also want to make sure we have it in enough time to put it on the ballot. That's my thoughts
But I
on
mean,
this.
there really doesn't seem to be any harm in putting it on the registry and just doing the rest of the other stuff in parallel.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, please, Ted.
So, Dan, you were saying that you were waiting for more information to come back. Did you not see the report that was sent out by Dave Wally about 3-4 weeks ago that had come back in from the other company that we had hired to do an analysis on the building?
Nope, I must have missed that one, Ted.
Missed that email.
Yeah, sorry.
And it had gone through, and it seemed like from their report that there's not much of historical value in the building anymore besides the vaults and some items within the ceiling. So I worry that, it may not make the criteria that the state would be looking for. And I also worry that by trying to go for a historical easement or not easement, a historical record item, that there could be a lot of red tape and if we're trying to go for certain monies, there's a lot more red tape and a lot more items that you have to fit within their boxes to spend that money in their certain ways. We need to make the building accessible, handicap accessible, and they actually went through their report and used a lot of the items from Weston Sampson to go into the report, and they came up with the same numbers that Weston Sampson came up with to fix the building the way it should be. And they didn't even take into account all the parking lot and roadway changes that would have been done under Weston Sampson's design. So they were even, in the end, would have been even more money to include all the parking lot changes that would have been needed too. So, their report was pretty extensive as well. You should try and find that back in your emails from Dave Waller.
Yeah, because I know the one that we got the last meeting when you were out. That was very extensive from the state. It was great information about the historical history of the building. So.
Well, we've already spent, I think, well over $80,000 on studies and research. None of us know what we want the building to be. And talk about putting the cart before the horse. They spent that $80,000 before they even knew what the people wanted to do with this building. That being said, I think putting something on a list that may allow us or not allow us and it has no cost, nothing. But it allows us to state that when we're writing stuff out there, and maybe people will look at things. I just don't understand the philosophy of what the harm is. And I guess I'd like to know what the specific concerns are that you have about being put on this list, because there is no obligation in any way, shape, or form. And they said there was no requirements. So if there's no requirements and there's no money.
There's requirements. He said that. There's requirements to stay on this. They had to do extensive criteria to get on there, and the state can remove you. Those are
But
the
they've already
requirements.
approved it. They've already approved it.
And that
So-
also means when you do the plan, let's say the type of wood in there makes it historic. And then when we look in there and we have to come up with a plan to construct and fix the building, the type of wood has to be a specific type. It's already...
It doesn't. That's only if we want to stay on the list. And at that point, you call the state, we're off the list, we're moving forward. It's not a big deal.
Why is it so important you to do it right now instead of waiting a month
And why
letting
isn't
them
it?
come back with a
And
plan?
why isn't it then? Why
Because
isn't
I'd
it
like
so
to see
important?
a total plan, not just one
Then-
little step.
We already have total plans. We have
We don't have a total plan.
You don't even know what the people want to
What's
do
going
with
on in the
it.
warrant article if it's a total plan?
Then why don't you do that?
That's what I'm asking to have. Mr.
So-
Ellison, who else has done all the work?
So let me so what you're asking, Sean, is to send it back to the Heritage Commission.
To come up with a proposal. And
And
it
come up with
may
a
or may
proposal.
not include.
And if the Heritage, that they come back and they said they want to be on the list, then you would support that.
It's got to be incorporated in the proposal. Like, we get on the list, we can apply for this grant. I just want to see more of a
Can't do
plan,
any
not
of that
just.
until you find out what you want to do with the building. That's what should be on the warrant article. What do you want to do with this building?
He's not answering the question.
Okay.
You don't know what you want to use it
The
for.
warrant article doesn't state what you do with the building. It states how much money you use and what the purpose is.
So if it goes to the Heritage Commission.
And they can help us formulate a plan.
Let me finish
Oh,
here.
sorry. Yep.
Okay? So your proposal, it goes to the Heritage Commission. The Heritage Commission comes back and says, yep, we agree with it. We agree it should be historical. All right? Are you okay now to vote saying we'll put this under a
So if the
historical?
Heritage Commission comes back and says, yes, we think that it would cost $800,000 to fix, we can get $400,000 from this grant if it goes on the list, absolutely. I just want to see a complete plan. I just don't want to see one little step and us go and we talk about this and some other meeting 3 months down the road. We have been kicking around this building forever.
So you don't want to just have the Historical Commission say, yes, we agree with this. You want them to come up with a plan on how much
Yeah,
money it's going to cost and everything else.
'Cause we can apply
and
for
where they're going to
grants.
get the money.
Yeah, we can apply for grants. I want to see what those are. I want to see something so we can get this ready-made and get it to the voters so we are not doing this next year again.
But how can you get it ready-made to the voters as to what you want to do if you don't know the use of the building? Will it be a rec building? Will it be a meeting house? Will it be offices? What will it be? We don't even know what we want this building to be.
I'll make a motion.
I can,
You
it could
can-
be a rec building, it could be something else. I can still get the building in usable shape.
But
I don't need to know what it
usable
is to get it in
shape.
usable shape.
It does matter, Sean.
You can't
because
use it
do you
right
need
now.
an industrial kitchen? How many bathrooms? What are the open spaces? You're going to need to put load-bearing beams. It does matter what kind of use you're going to use. So it's ridiculous what you're saying.
Excuse me, you allow public comment?
No, sir.
I wish everyone would just get along. How about that? Why don't we let that all set in for a few minutes and start working as a group? How about that, okay? That's my public comment, and I'll see you. I might not see you for another year, but enjoy your night. Especially you.
Okay.
So, if, I guess,
Huh?
you guys would like to put it to the Historical Society, correct?
The Heritage Commission.
Sorry, Heritage Commission, and have them review it and come back with a
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, so we can get this moved forward.
Yeah, the plan would make sense. And there's objection from you guys on that side as far as doing that.
Yeah, I think it's a
I'm
waste.
just, the only thing
We
I'm
can add
looking-
use in there, too.
The only thing I'm looking at is it's just going to be, we're just trying to put it on the historical building.
Mm-hmm.
We're not looking to fund it. We're not looking to see where the money's going to come from. I'm thinking, once it's under the historical building, maybe then, the Historical Commission can go out and get funds because it's listed under the historical building.
And they can answer those questions for us.
I
Right,
need
but
to
you're
ask a question
looking to
first.
you're looking for them to come back and say, it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and this is where we're going to go get the money. And I don't see that happening. But
I need a clarification question from either Kirsten or the town manager. What is that even under the purview or scope of the Heritage Commission to put together plans and funding, and is that even up to them to do? I don't believe that's what is in their purview.
I don't think we have the capability.
I don't think so either.
So
The landowner sign it.
I'm going to defer to the town manager.
I'm sorry,
on this
could you
one.
just ask the question again, please?
The question is, does the Heritage Commission have the purview to look at grant money, to do design work, to do all the things that Sean is asking them to do? I didn't think that was under what they're supposed to do.
It's not in the statute, if you read the statute, what their job is, but it is something that would commonly be asked of them to do because that is the area that they focus on, is obviously historic buildings. So that would not be uncommon to make that sort of request to them. They are our subject matter experts in that area.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
I'd like to make a motion to send it to the Heritage Commission to come back with us with a proposal.
Okay. I have a motion from Sean.
I'll second that.
I have a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to be recusing myself.
Okay, thank you. Let the record show that Deb has recused herself. Next up is to accept the ethics complaint investigation report regarding a town councilor. Mr. Mahone.
So I just want to go over the history of this situation. Obviously, there was a complaint that was filed with the town, the council, back in May of 2025. On June 2nd, the following motion was made by Vice Chairman Faber, made a motion to direct the town manager to engage an independent third-party investigator to conduct a review of the remaining complaints and report the findings to the town council, seconded by Councilor Combs. Motion carries 4-0-0. Chair votes in the affirmative. After that, and these are from the minutes, Chair Dunn said the complaints will be treated seriously, reviewed thoroughly, and handled without bias. The council is committed to due process, transparency, and upholding the integrity of public service. The complaints will be placed on the 91A Right to Know page on the town website by noon on June 3rd, 2025. I would suggest that the town council was rather wise to ensure that they separated themselves from the investigation so that they can perform the task that is now in front of them in making a finding. I selected a different law firm to conduct the investigation so the town's legal counsel could advise the council if such advice were needed. I think the timeline is particularly important here. Again, the complaint was filed back in May. The council acted on June 2nd. And then the Donahue, Tucker, and Ciandella law firm was contracted with to conduct this investigation. I asked that the report be provided to me by no later than August 8th, which is a Friday, which coincides with our policy of providing documents 10 days prior to the council meeting. I did not receive that document until 2:06 p.m. on Monday, the 11th of August, 2025. The agenda has to be published by 5 p.m., so that 7 days is allowed for the council to be able to read the materials as well as the general public. I emailed the council at 2:22 p.m. The investigative report. I also emailed the complainant at 2:24 p.m. and provided those documents to him. The agenda was posted at 3:55 p.m. I'm aware of various allegations, conspiracy theories that I did that for the purpose of trying to cast more dirt on the individual who filed the complaint. That is patently false and incorrect. Transparent government in the sunshine is how we operate here. This council has been committed to that, and it's acted in that behalf. Things might have been done differently in the past, but they're not going to be done the same way in the future. And the law has already supported that, and the Supreme Court has made decisions on that. In this case, we have a matter that involves a town councilor, an elected official. Those investigations don't occur in the dark. This is not the good old boy club, and we don't do business that way here any longer. They're done appropriately, they're done unbiased, and they're done transparently. And that's exactly what has been done in this particular case. In this matter, the council will make a determination one way or another on this complaint. Ultimately, the voters make the ultimate decision as to whether their elected officials are acting appropriately. They can do that more effectively when they have unbiased information to make those decisions. Elected officials do not have a right to privacy when it comes to ethics violations. We spent thousands of taxpayer dollars on this investigation. We went back several times to interview more people, and then again more people, and then again more people, to make sure that we followed all the appropriate leads to make sure we had the evidence that we needed if there was any indication that there were an ethics violation to be able to produce that. There are no more appropriate leads to follow. We have done, in my view, the appropriate course of action. The attorney has done that and completed a proper investigation that you have in front of you. The investigation was thorough and complete. There are no other leads or questions in this matter that are going to change that situation. The council will need to make a determination based on the evidence in the investigative report provided to it. The council must now choose to accept the report decide if the matter is unfounded. If for some reason the council believes that it is not unfounded and there are some allegations that the council should act on, the next step is a due process hearing. And the council must allow Councilor Paul to be able to allow due process to make her case as to why she is not in violation of our ethics code. So you have two choices. Either take the investigative report, accept it, and make a determination whether it's unfounded. And if you think otherwise, the next thing is to move to a hearing. Then she'll be allowed to be able to come in here and make her case. We'll spend thousands of dollars of more taxpayer dollars with attorneys sitting in here, and we'll spend a lot of hours doing that if you believe that's the case. And that's what you should do if you believe that's the case. So I want to make that very clear what the process is moving forward and where we are.
Any questions from the council? Any discussion?
I'm going to say something on this. I think I read all 30 pages. I'm comfortable with the investigation. I'm glad we had a third party do it. So I'll make a motion. Mr. Town Manager, is it option 2 that we're going with? Motion 2?
Let me just get to that page on 200 and something, wherever it is here. You have two different motions. Motion number 1 and motion number 2.
Correct.
Motion number 1 is to accept the report. And then motion number 2, you need to make some determination, whether it's going to be unfounded or if you think it's sustained, then you're going to have to go to a hearing.
So we have to make both of these motions, is what you're saying?
Well, that's what you should do, yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that I move that the Londonderry Town Council accepts the investigation report and findings from the law firm of Donahue, Tucker, and Sandella relative to the alleged acts by Town Councilor Deborah Paul, detailed in the complaints filed on April 30th, May 1st, and May 8th, 2025, regarding violations of the town's code of ethics.
I have a motion from Dan.
I'll second it.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
I'll make another motion. I move that the Londonderry Town Council, based on the findings of the investigation of alleged acts by Town Councilor Deb Paul, detailed in the complaint filed on April 30th, May 1st, and May 8th, 2025, regarding the violations of the Town Code of Ethics, are unfounded, and this matter is now closed.
I have a motion from Dan.
I will second it.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Next up is discussion of the report submitted by the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department relative to the allegations of the ethics code proposed by the town councilor. Mr. Mulholland.
So this matter, Chief Kim Bernard, who's acting town manager at the time, the allegations involve potential criminal activity. So that matter was placed to the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department to investigate, and appropriately so they could take action they deemed appropriate. You have the report from them, and it's up to you. That was suspended initially. to allow them to do their criminal investigation or make their determination, and they have done so, and now it's up to you to act as you deem appropriate on that.
Questions, discussion from the council?
Ted's looking at me. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that I move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby receives a report from the Rockingham County Sheriff's Department regarding allegations of violations of the town's code of ethics.
I have a motion from Dan.
Second.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
I move that the Londonderry Town Council hereby determines these allegations alleging that Councilor Deb Paul violated the town's code of ethics are unfounded.
I have a motion from Dan.
Second. And this
second from Ted.
And this matter is closed. Sorry.
That's right. Motion from Dan, second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Councilor Paul, if you'll return to the... It's a new item on our agenda. Approval of the consent items. The approval of the town council minutes, the approval of the timber tax, and the approval of the timber tax from Rockingham Road and the timber tax from Thibodeau Corporation.
So as this is a new item on there, when the council actually approves these, you sign these in between meetings, which you are allowed to do. They should be ratified in public. This is part of your transparency piece of that you talked about, to make sure the public knows exactly what we are doing, their business, and that's why you have those in front of you. So the way you would normally do this is any council can pull anything off of the consent agenda. It only takes one to do that, and then it has to be discussed. Then you would approve the other items on the consent calendar. Someone would make a motion to approve the consent items in the agenda packet. And then again, any councilor, once that motion is made, can pull any one of those off to discuss them if they deem it appropriate.
Any questions or discussion, or? I'll accept the motion to accept the consent items.
So moved.
Motion by Ted, second by Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Any liaison reports tonight?
I just would have two things I'd like to say. I'd like to know what we're doing for 9/11, if we've had plans, or if we're going to do a ceremony. Just want to inquire about that. And I know this isn't a liaison report, but I sincerely just want to say to the citizens of the town that I'm truly sorry that you had to go through that, witness this, and I apologize for the inconvenience that I caused the taxpayers of this town. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have a liaison report?
The comment about 9/11, I believe normally the fire department always does something that morning.
But I haven't heard anything like coming out, so I was just curious if anybody
I
had
think
heard what was going on, or...
I think they usually release that closer to when it's happening. So we still have another 3 weeks until 9/11.
I'll make sure the council is aware of whatever events are going to occur. I'll get that email out.
And for the public.
Thank you.
I mean,
Sure.
it would be nice for
So,
them to know.
As Old Home Day liaison, Old Home Day was a nice success. It was a nice event, seeing everybody out there, just enjoying themselves in the sun. It was a good day, good weather, which we can be thankful for. As liaison, I'm going to create an after-action review working group, just to analyze the event and do standard things afterwards to see, things about it, what went right, what went wrong. So
Excellent. Any other liaison reports?
Sean, did you miss me?
Yes, actually.
One more thing. I just want everyone to know that there was a beautiful celebration of life for Mr. Andy Mack that happened at Old Home Day. And it was wonderful to see some of the people come back from across the country to embrace his life here. Not everybody may have liked his politics or anything, but he always was a center of conversation, and he did a lot of good in this town. And to see some of the pictures of him with former both Bushes and Reagan and Obama, just all the presidents that walked through the orchards with him and had conversation with him. I thought that was a really, really touching day to have it on Old Home Day, and it was really, really nice. Thank you.
Good.
Ron? So I wasn't here at the last meeting before. The Heritage Commission had some really cool, I think, new apartment and condos that'll be coming to town that they'll be presenting to the planning board that I think will be a really nice look for the town with their designs for architecturally. And as well, I was at the school meeting last Thursday that they had at Matthew Thornton regarding what potential future may be for kindergarten in town, and the superintendent was able to present that there's actually been such a drop in population in the schools that he's actually able to fold in full-day kindergarten within the 3 elementary schools without doing a building project for next fall's school year. I think that's a huge move forward that they're able to look at doing that without going and bonding a project. The school board will be discussing it on September 2nd, and then it's again on September 23rd.
Excellent. Anyone else? Town manager report.
So just a couple of things. Again, I want to echo the Old Home Day success. Definitely the large number of volunteers from Alert, the many other volunteers who many I don't even know yet because I'm still new here that made this happen. And there's just so many people out there. It's refreshing, obviously, from the outside. And when you see this many volunteers that put this together, I've seen other communities where they have staff that do that, but you've got so many people that do a lot of good work to make that happen. I thought it was a great event. Certainly the PD and the fire department and DPW did a lot to make this happen. And in particular, Kirsten and Doug spent a lot of time on this to bring it together to make it work. And I think it was a great success. And I look forward as we transition to more of an active role with volunteers in terms of coordinating that and us working with them as staff to make that happen. We're still going to be part of that process. But I think that's going to be hopefully a good recipe for success in the future here on that. So plan unit development, Council Paul rightfully asked me what the process was going to be for that, the timeline. So we have October 8th, the planning board will start its first initial reviews for the amendments. November 12th, they'll have a work session on that to incorporate those. And then on sometime in December, they will have a public hearing on proposed changes to the public PUD ordinance. And then Town Council will have it on January 5th or January 19th. That assumes that things stay on schedule. Obviously, the planning board has applications it has to act upon, but that's at least the tentative schedule as it stands right now. I've talked to several councilors about the budget timeline and budget process. We need to make, in my view, some incremental changes now. We're already well into the period of time that a window that the budget is about to be developed. I want to extend that process next year to allow for a lot more time. I don't think it's a good practice for the council on November 1st or the budget committee to be given a book. Here's the budget with this many pages when you have no way to digest that in time. The best I'm going to be able to do this year is get it to you 7 days in advance, but that's not enough either. To be able to read all that material, have intelligent questions to ask, and also the public. That's another key piece of that. All versions of this budget should be out there for them to be able, so that way they can reach out to their elected officials and say, look, I have concerns about this, or members of the budget committee. I want to look at totally revamping that process and making it longer so that when you finish one budget, you're starting the next one. And the budget committee should have a more active role in how we do that at the very beginning. But I don't think it's fair to any elected officials to be handed a budget book this thick and then we make presentations in front of them. That's just, to me, non-productive. So I can't fix all of that this year, but I'm going to start fixing some of it this year to make it at least a little bit better. But hopefully next year, I want to work with the council and the budget committee to work on a different process that will be spread out a little bit further and allow more time to be able to do the things that we elect you to do. The voters elect you to do. I vote too, obviously. I live here. So, all right, so there's that. And just a reminder, again, we had to change the dates for September. If you look at the agenda, and I'm going to go over the agenda for the next two meetings here, it says September 8th and then the 20th. It's actually September 2nd and 9:15 because of that schedule change. That decision was made in I guess March or April before I got here, so we need to fix that. And just a reminder too for councilors on the 9:15 meeting, that's going to start at 6 p.m. because there'll be a meeting with legal counsel due to one of the cases that we're going to have that we're going to be addressing later on in that agenda. I want to talk about the OpenGov software program. Dan mentioned it tonight, asset management, so we know. We have a better idea. We can forecast what our road work needs to be and what the costs are going to be if we choose different options. It has a work order system, maintenance schedules. It has data that you don't have right now. You don't have it. The Budget Committee doesn't have it. The voters don't have it to be able to make adequate decisions. So that process is already underway to get that program up and running here in town. And the next thing we're going to be looking at is the permitting and licensing process. It's a rather Byzantine process. I've heard no end of complaints about the how those processes are handled and the lack of feedback back and forth. And I have no way to have any supervision over that because I can't. It's not a software program. It's all done by paper. So that's something that's going to be very important as we move forward to allow that visibility and look at those deficiencies in that process. And we need to have a better customer service ethic when it comes to permitting. And most people, the average person does not know how to go through this process. And it's somewhat daunting for the average person to try to figure it out. We need to make that easier, and there's a way to do that. Other towns around us have already done this, so this is, I think, a rather important piece to move things forward. And then we also need to look at our ERP program, our finance program. As you know, New World is really old world, and it is outdated, and they're not updating that system anymore. It's just going to be a matter of time before there won't be any security patches for it. We haven't been given that notice yet, but we need to prepare for that. And ideally, these three programs should be working together in concert, integrated programs. Again, I'll be talking more about that. The ethics code revision process, the public engagement session is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in this room. So that's our first public engagement session for the ethics proposed draft ethics revision for the code. That's working its way through the boards and committees right now to receive feedback as well as staff. And depending on what changes there are, there'll probably be another community engagement session on that. We haven't scheduled it yet because I don't have any changes yet. And then there'll be a whole process where the council has a first reading and yet another public hearing. It's deliberately set up to be this way to allow for all kinds of opportunities for public comment. We don't need to rush this. Let's do it right, and we are. And you approve that process to do it right, and that's what we're doing here. Strategic plan updates. The departments will be working on that, their recommendations from that, and it'll be going around to boards and committees shortly. And then there'll be general public sessions as well for community engagement on that as to what should be in the town's strategic plan, and those will be facilitated discussions, and we'll put those dates out. I've got a meeting with department heads on Wednesday. I'm going to be talking about the CIP process. It needs, in my view, significant reforms. There are a lot right now. There's really no opportunity for the public to even provide a project if they choose to. You don't allow for that in there. I think that's something you should consider. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of those, but there should be an opportunity that allows them to do that. And I recommend a number of changes in that. But again, that's something that you're going to have to approve, and it's written in your charter about how that works out. So that's something that will be coming before you. And then the last item is charter restructuring, not changing anybody's power or authority, but just changing the format, the template that you use for your charter to be more in line with those around the rest of the country. But again, it won't change any of the power or authority that anybody has. It's just the numbering sequence, hopefully to avoid some confusion. So those are the items I have before you. Now, again, I'll just go over the agenda real quick for, again, it says September 8th on the agenda right now, but that's actually September 2nd, and you will see that in the next iterations of the agendas. They'll have the updated dates. This was posted before we had to make the change to September 2nd. Discuss and approve the formation of a Department of Public Works working group for the facility. Discuss, approve, and direct the town manager to implement TC 102, that's town council policy regarding real property transactions. Right now, you don't have a policy on how you handle those, and this will give you a round of options to be able to choose from. And again, that will be your first policy under the new numbering sequence, TC 102. Discuss and set a public hearing to remove administrative policy chapters from Title VI of the Municipal Code and institute said chapters as standalone policies. For some reason, I have not seen this anywhere else. Your policies are in your code. I don't know why that is. I have not received any explanation why that's the case. Policies they don't go in the code. That's why we have a code and we have a place for policies. There'll be town council policies and there's administrative policies. All of those need to be visible to the public so they can see them. They already are. I mean, obviously these are posted on our website. So we're changing up that process, and that'll be up to you to implement that. So what we'll be doing is rescinding the Chapter 6, which is your policies, and those will all be standard. They will stay in effect as standalone policies until they're updated. Discuss request by Councilor Paul for the Town Council to seek new legal counsel. Discuss request by Councilor Paul to discuss the development of legislative policy positions by the Town Council regarding legislation at the state level that impacts the town of Londonderry. Discuss request by Councilor Paul to implement an elected planning board. Discuss request by Councilor Paul to discuss the potential of coordinating a joint meeting with the town, the school board, and the budget committee. We have a request for reconsideration of the July 2021 decision regarding building on a Class 6 road on Jacks Bridge Road. Receive a status update regarding the number of applicants for the Leach Library Board of Trustees alternates and determine what action is necessary prior to the interviews. Then we move on to the next meeting, and again, it's showing it at September 22nd. It's actually going to be September 15th. That's the public hearing to remove administrative policy chapters from Title VI of the Municipal Code and institute said chapters as standalone policies if the council chooses to actually set a public hearing on that. Leach Library Board of Trustees alternative interviews, if you determine that's the next course of action. Receive updates regarding the reevaluation of properties from the assessing department. Discuss and set a public hearing, again, if you deem it appropriate, for October 6, 2025, regarding the revision of elderly exemption requirements. Receive the fourth quarter budget report unaudited for fiscal year 2025. Discuss requests brought forth by a resident and sponsored by Council Paul to consider opening an additional polling place for elections. Discuss requests by Council Paul to implement a policy on how the Citizen of the Year is chosen. And discuss a request by Council Paul to consider creating pocket parks. Discuss a request to rescind the preservation easement from the house located at 2 Litchfield Road. And those are the items I have for you.
Thank you, sir.
Unless there's any questions of me.
Any questions of the council?
I do. You mentioned there's a meeting starting at after 9?
Yes.
Which meeting was that again?
That's 9:15, and that's 6 p.m. That will be a meeting with legal counsel, obviously just for the
On
town.
September 15, you mean?
September 15th.
Thank you. At 9:15?
No, that's at 6.
6
p.m. So 9:15 is September 15th.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. upstairs. I know it's late. All these numbers.
Thank you. And then we'll have our meeting after.
And then we'll have our meeting at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to make a comment to town manager
Go ahead.
that I appreciate the looking ahead for the
Yes.
agenda. I think that's important so we get to see what's coming and prepare ourselves. Thank you.
And them.
Yeah.
And them. Yes.
And I just want to remind everybody about the Blues Fest, that all the proceeds go to disabled veterans. So if you have nothing to do on Saturday between noon and 4, go down to the town common and listen to some blues. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I will open public comment.
Speaking to the mic.
Good evening, sir.
There he is, sir. John Ferrer, 58 Hovey Road, Utilities Committee, Water Subcommittee. A request. So you saw the presentation. Congratulations to both of you on making what we put together, a 4-hour presentation into a 30-minute presentation. A few of us in the committee are engineering and project management orientated. And during the presentation, you saw the criteria that was set up that you approved on how things are going to be handled. Before that, there was a slide of all the information of what's happening in the town. And for some of us, it's a little bit frustrating about being in the public sector to get things moving versus in the private sector. And Jeff and I are very much oriented in engineering. We have great people on the committee that work at the state legislature. I got a personal editor over here. You know,
Yeah.
we have committee members that are absolutely fantastic with their knowledge base. We are the decision point. This gentleman breath of fresh air, has brought to us a way to get moving, and it's a big hurdle, okay? It's funding, guys. We need your support on his request to document an actual proposal. I had to do grants. In my previous position, I got over $200,000 worth of grants from state and federal, and the paperwork to do that is absolutely exhausting. He's going to request, as you know, a person to get the next step. We need to get those 8, 9, 10 into the loop. So I'm asking for your support to get that done, okay? It's very important. A lot of people have done a lot of work. We like doing it, but we definitely need your support to get to the next step. Second thing, and I'll move on really quick, I think we missed an opportunity tonight. This gentleman wanted to put something on the agenda to put in heritage, and you came up with a great idea. Let's stop, screwing around. Let's get something done. I think you missed the opportunity for a good idea and a good intention to both move forward at the same time. So that's my public comment, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and last but not least, thank you for letting Kristen be our full-time administrative staff. That makes she now has 9 full-time jobs, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else with public comment? Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Patrick Alazim, 22 Summer Drive.
Could you pull the mic up on the platform?
I need a smaller laptop. I'll be very quick. I have just a few comments. First off, I believe there might be a very small correction needed to the TIF Advisory Board resolution. So if you look in stipulation number 4, it says, whereas the TIF Advisory Board shall consist of word 3 parenthesized digit 3 members and then 1 word parenthesized 1 digit. The remaining word 4 parenthesized 2 members. Do you see what I'm pointing at? Look at the 4th paragraph, the one that starts, whereas the TIF Advisory Board shall consist of 3 members.
1 member shall be a town council and the remaining, it should say 2 there. Yep, you're right.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. The next thing, I want to start with a quick disclosure just for members of the public here. My comments are two of my comments quickly will pertain to Budget Committee activities. I am a currently elected serving member of the Budget Committee. However, I am not speaking for the Budget Committee. I'm speaking as a citizen here, and what I say is going to defer to whatever the town manager finds in the review that was asked for tonight. Councillor Coombs, thank you very much earlier on for looking already at the RSAs. In my reading, there are going to be a few changes, assuming that the town council moves forward with this. One is, as was mentioned, that the budget committee would get the ability to set the default budget. Another one, under RSA 3218, is that the budget committee would gain the power to limit appropriations. The town council could override such limitations, but RSA 3218 does include that BudComs would limit appropriations. So that would be a big difference from where we are now.
Can I pause just for a point of clarification? So there's the RSA you cited is one way to go down the road of this. There's also the town charter provision. So those have two different sets of criteria. So that may not necessarily apply, just depending on what he comes back.
Okay, fair point. And like I said, whatever I say can be overridden by the ultimate authoritative analysis. The other thing is I wanted to thank the town manager for his comments on providing information earlier. Speaking as a private citizen and also in my capacity as a budget committee member, having already done some analysis with financial info that was provided in their always helpful manner by the town finance department. Currently, the process of crunching numbers is extremely laborious. So anything that we can do to go from paper to digital and to enable us to more effectively, efficiently, and rapidly do our own analyses would be, you have no idea how enormously appreciated. So thank you. And just speaking for myself, if you need lab rats, test cases, I volunteer. So there's that. I already mentioned just appreciation, as always, for the town finance department. And then lastly, just again speaking as a private citizen here, I very much appreciate the town council tonight bringing the ethics issue to a rapid close. Thank you for just very succinctly laying out the town manager, what are the options here. And it was very good reading in some of the provided materials that the third-party investigator that was hired had explicit limits on their scope set in part to presumably try to limit the cost to taxpayers. Thank you for that. That's all my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Patrick.
Anybody else with public comment? Good evening, Christine. Thank you for being patient.
Not good for nurses to lose their patience. You want to bring that down, Jen? Citizen Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive.
John Perez, 5 Wesley Drive.
Welcome.
So I'm going to speak, and then John's going to speak his, okay? So I have been following the impact discussion for over a year since it was first mentioned by taxpayers at town council meetings. I'm concerned that it appears that it has been once again pushed down the road for no good reason. Why impact fees? Money. Simply money for the Londonderry taxpayers. Money that would assist taxpayers in obtaining needs that have been brought on by development. Development for single-family homes, townhomes, duplexes, multifamily structures, senior living, shops, hotels, office space, manufacturing, warehouse, and more. Sound familiar? These are the many types of developments that have happened at warp speed over the last 11 years since the then town council and town manager decided to cancel our ability to charge impact fees because of one mistake. Why not just learn from our mistakes and move forward? Because of their decision, we have perhaps lost hundreds of thousands of dollars from the building of Woodmont, senior communities like Hickory Woods and Cross Farm and others, Connect 55, Technology Hill, to name a few. And what about the businesses on Pentonville? We have been fed misinformation here and publicly by an individual that was involved in the decision-making that we must match these fees. Not true. Another individual who was a vested interest in the development of Londonderry has made statements in direct conflict to the state statute 675:21. According to Londonderry's own previous ordinance, quote, impact fee payments from new development will enable the town of Londonderry to provide adequate public facilities to serve new growth, to provide new development with a reasonable benefit in proportion to its contribution to the demand for such facilities, end quote. Quote, the imposition of impact fees is one of the preferred methods of ensuring that development bears an proportionate share of the cost of capital facilities necessitated to accommodate such development. This must be done in order to promote and protect the public safety, health, and welfare, end quote, right from Londonderry's own pact. This made sense then, and it will make sense now. It is a shame that we have lost so much because of poor decision-making. Now we can move forward without delay by instructing our new town manager, who I might add is very experienced in this process, to develop said ordinance for the consideration by the town council and planning board, and if the public wanted. We do not need to wait for budget season for this part of the process. It costs nothing. It's my understanding that in the past, items were put on the CIP with no real process. You can continue that practice or put a process in place. Either way, that does not stop us from putting an impact fee ordinance in place. I have spent some time in conversation with the Municipal Association as well as other towns that have utilized these fees for years. Most are surprised that Londonderry does not have such an ordinance with the extensive building that has been done here. I have heard how their fees have helped with traffic issues, much like the massive issue we will have on Pillsbury Road when over 150 units are finished in just 1 mile. They have used them for water issues, and we certainly have ours. They have used them for improvement at schools caused by population increase. They have used them for recreational facility upgrades, etc. All things that could have helped us here in Londonderry and will if we move forward at impact fees. Look at Route 28 Overlay Removal District. If extensive development starts, impact fees would certainly be of benefit for two big issues brought forward in that area already, water and traffic. This is the perfect thing for impact fees. I was impressed with how, for example, Salem actually breaks down their fees by intended area. For example, a single-family detached school, $5,345, recreation, $1,014, traffic, $2,222, public safety, $700. And non-residentials are broken down by various square footage.
Christine,
Retail,
can you wrap it up? Or have John?
56 cents per
Just want
square
to be fair to
foot.
everybody. They get 5 minutes. I don't want to.
Okay, he's going on.
Okay, that's fine.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Retail, 56 per square foot. Now, certainly, a less than $10,000 addition to the development in this housing market is not an issue in Salem. They feel it is appropriate. The building continues to be zealous, and this is certainly not a tax on the residents. Towns that have impact fees for many years, for example, Wolfboro, they have added users and eliminated users for the fees as the developments finish and others are started. The CIP is a revolving document you add and take away. A town certainly does not have everything in its CIP that it would need or want over the next 20 years before implementing impact fees. This is ridiculous to think that it's necessary. As far as new people paying for projects, well, another way to look at it is if they didn't pay for existing services, they don't pay for the school, the new firehouse, the new police cars. As impact fees are approved and utilized, we know that they only pay a portion of the project, and everyone in town will then pay their fair share. Think of the fee money as a down payment on your home, and you do not have to come up with it. All this being said, I very respectfully ask the town council to move to have the town manager put together a draft ordinance for impact fees for the town of Londonderry. Now to get this tool moving. It is long overdue for the taxpayers of Londonderry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience too, Christine. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Kim Strymata from 3 Pine Street, and I just had a comment about what this nice gentleman presented to you for now 2 meetings in a row. I don't know if I'm more disappointed at Mr. Faber just downright not wanting to do it when it doesn't cost anything. That's really disappointing to me. You put a lot of effort into getting that to work. Or if I am more disappointed that there are 5 votes on this table. One person says no, and you 3, that's it. So
Okay.
do we think independently on this council and actually make decisions based on what's being presented? Or do we just make sure we keep our little clan together? Because that is so disappointing. Thank you.
Oh, you're in?
Ann Champa, Londonderry. I was so disappointed also. All David Ellis was looking for was your signature as owner of this property, the Reverend Morrison's meeting house, and send it off to Concord. And in return, we'd get an emblem for the building and a lot of publicity as far as us being now on the register. It comes free. Shame on you, fighting over that. I mean, that's all it was, a signature that the town owns the property. David did the work to write it all up. You know, it's, I'm not sure what goes through your heads. Were you listening at what he said? That building is very important in the history of Londonderry. The first public building. And please, I hope you won't put any roadblocks into its future. It deserves to be preserved. If it takes some money, I'll be the first person to start fundraising for it. And you should all back us when we are. I'm saying the community that's for this building, that so many people in the past have used for their wedding events, their birthday parties. Deb's, your
60.
60th birthday party. it's a building that the public can use. Maybe even you'll use it sometime. Thank you for listening. But I also want to say something else about the Old Home Day. The town manager forgot to thank himself, because after it was all over, he helped so many people who had set up their tents, and then at the end of the day, they had to take them down. He was there helping, lifting the tents up, bringing them to the road so they can be easily picked up by the cars who were stopping to do that, or the trucks. I totally respect you, not only for your job you're doing as town manager, but how you're fitting into the community and you're giving it your all in so many different ways. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Anybody else? How are you, Tom?
Tom Esty, lifelong resident. I am so disgusted with all of these lawsuits that we spend money on, thousands and thousands of dollars. Malaguti cost us over 15. I'm sure this lawsuit's going to be over 20. How many more stupid, frivolous lawsuits are we going to keep doing in this town? Seriously, when's it going to come to an end? I am so sick. The people who supported it, I would like to see them get their checkbooks out, make them payable to the town of Londonderry. Why should me, as a taxpayer, have to spend over $35,000? I work my ass off to pay my property taxes. Why do I need to waste my money and other people have to waste their money on these stupid-ass laws? We had Dan Bouchard ask John, please, don't go through with this. Went through anyway. What a waste of money. And the other thing, if you could explain to me, I was watching part of it, I didn't see it, about the, I think it was about the conservation money. Can you explain that to me real quick?
That was me. Does he want me to explain?
What do you want to know, Tom?
Well, is because we used to put so much money into the land conservation, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Are we still doing that, or we're not?
Yes. We kept it the same. We didn't change it.
Okay.
The proposal was to change it 100%. We kept it the same.
So the piece that's down on Gilchrist Road, that's going to be 96 beautiful townhomes that are ugly as shit. I would rather look at the overgrown trees. That was put into conservation, but so all that money, did a portion of that go back to the town, or did it go to conservation? How much went to conservation?
I believe, if I'm correct, 750,000. Is that correct? Went to conservation.
Out of what? Over $2 million.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think conservation, Sean, is a great thing. Maybe you don't have any skin in this town or in this game, but I do. I've been here my whole life, and my land is put into conservation. And I wish we would have bought more land in this town, and we should have, because Woodmont looks frickin' ugly, all of it. All those apartment buildings look like shit. I go to Hollis every single morning to pick up stuff from my store, and I look at that beautiful town. I don't see no apartment buildings, no townhouses. It's all beautiful farmland, all beautiful. This town, I can't even believe how much this landscape has changed. It's awful. And you three should have backed Dan Bouchard, by the way. So disappointed in you. I can't even believe it. Because I guarantee you, if it had to come out of your pocket, you wouldn't have voted that way. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? How are you?
Very
Yeah,
good.
good.
Thank you. Good evening.
Tough act to follow, Martha.
Martha Smith, 38 Chester Drive. I just want to, first of all, I would like to congratulate Councillor Paul on the outcome of all of the complaints that were filed. I'm sorry we all had to go through that. I want to congratulate all of you on, I believe, making the right decision tonight. I'm sorry that we had to go through all of that. And I want to say to Councillor Paul, too, you did not have to apologize to us tonight. It was very gracious of you to do this, but it was not your place to apologize to us. It was somebody else's who was not here tonight, but I applaud you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Martha. Tony, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire. So I'd like to talk about the charter for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay.
Hold him to that. And so you remember, I know you'll remember, about a year and a half ago, I stood at this podium and I talked about the moving stream and how fast the stream was moving, but it was nice and calm on the top. But when you look down under the water, it was all filled with rocks of all different shapes, and they had all taken themselves and kneaded themselves together so that they were nice and smooth. And that's what caused the top of the water to continue smoothly down the stream. But if you reach down and you take one of those rocks out, it's going to create a disturbance. And now the top surface is going to get all crazy. And you'll also remember, Mr. Chair, that I talked about the charter and how the charter was like the bottom of the stream. And all the parts of the charter are all kneaded together, and they work together. And the more you start removing stones, the more you cause the top to get all rippled. I will say, and I've been saying for at least 5 years now, that it's time that we stop taking bits and pieces of the charter and changing it, and that we open a charter commission, and that we look at the charter to see if it makes sense for the town, the whole charter. What can be done differently? What might be a better fit for the town? What might be a better look for the town? But to go week after week, Councillor Paul, and try to make changes, I think is a mistake. I think open the entire charter, start a charter commission. Let's see what's next for Londonderry. Let's see how Londonderry can be better. Currently, we have more than, on a local election, 85% of the town not participating, give or take. If it's a local election, national election, a little bit more people. 85% not participating. Are we servicing those people correctly? Charter Commission will tell us that. A Charter Commission will tell us maybe a better path forward. A Charter Commission will investigate what else is going on around us. And so I want you to think about the story of the stream. I want you to think about it, and I want you to open a Charter Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with public comment? Go on.
Sherry Farrell, your town clerk. I didn't really intend to say anything tonight, Chairman Dunn, but we've had a lot of changes. And one change happened at the first meeting, I believe it was, or the second meeting of the council, where now profanity is okay. And I've never been to meetings before where a gentleman can come up and use one word that I would prefer that our children don't see, or that doesn't become our legacy in this town. And then I was hoping for a pause, an oops, that maybe he didn't mean to say that, but then it was accelerated, not to mention, some of the other things. But that's disappointing. People have a right to say and to bring things forward. They also have a right to be protected by all of you. But dear goodness, maybe I'm asking you, and I'm not even sure it's possible, but could you reconsider that policy change that was made at the beginning, it was quoted back then that in the city of Nashua, they allow profanity and that they allow swearing in their meetings. And the city clerk in Nashua verified, as did others, that their policy is slightly different than that, and they do not encourage or condone it. So my ask for you tonight, for the citizens and the children and the students that are going to watch these council meetings and learn from it when they are in college classes and high school classes, is please reconsider that policy that you made rather quickly, because that's not who Londonderry is. I grew up here too, and I don't remember things like that happening. So I don't even know our town manager if that's a possibility, but I'd like you to reconsider that one. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anyone else with public comment? Good evening.
Good evening. Zachary Reed, 186 Capitol Hill Drive, and this will be very brief. This is a country with freedom of speech, and when you think passionately about something, you use words that are disenfranchised by people because they are attached to things like church or other things that may be separated from the state, right? So I should be allowed to come up here and say whatever swears I want to carry my point with the vigor that is needed to drive home what I would like to say. If I'm mad, I should say the F word. I'm not going to do it right now to protect you guys' ears, because apparently you need protecting of your ears. But our country was built on freedom of speech. Our country was built on public discourse. Our country was built on the ability to say what you mean in an effective manner that convinces people. And I think swears are a very effective way to convince people. Clearly, it's already caused more discourse, so I'd say keep them coming.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
John Farrell, 4 Hancock Drive. So since somebody else brought up lawsuits, I wasn't going to say anything. Yes, a lot of money has been spent with legal. Last year, someone did a 91A going on internal police investigations to 2017. Those people are sitting in this room. Cost $25,000. There's someone else who's the 91A champ. Another friend of his is a 91A champ. It cost the town $30,000. You want it to stop? Be civil. Behave. Stop making false accusations of people. Stop saying people are stealing. Stop saying people are being paid off by developers. Stop spreading false rumors about people and their families. Because everything I reported happened. Regardless of what the report says, nothing in there was untrue. I'm glad it's over, and I'm happy to see everybody move forward, but I'd like to see them move forward in a civil tone. Do it as ladies and gentlemen. Be nice. Be polite to each other. Stop hurling rocks at everybody, because that's what's going on. And I've sat up there for 15 years and had it done to me for 15 years. Be nice to people. And if this gentleman wants to curse, so be it.
Thank you. Anybody else with public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you.